This is Adelaide's FIVEAA.
Partly cloudy, 18 today with the 6 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Working with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations. physioextra.com.
An emergency warning remains in effect for the town of Ichunga, but there's better news this morning regarding that dam threatening to burst its banks. Penny Cowler from the SES has the latest.
SES have now been able to reduce the level of the water in the dam by over 2 metres and are consulting with engineers to understand what further works need to take place. Road closures remain in place but are being assessed to ensure locals can return to their homes as soon as it is safe to do so.
Optus has identified close to 15,000 Medicare numbers which have been exposed as a result of last week's cyber attack. The telco will be informing the owners of those cards today if they haven't already been contacted. Meantime, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has told Parliament the government has written to Optus asking the company to cover the cost of new passports.
We believe that Optus should pay, not taxpayers. And Senator Penny Wong, the Minister for Foreign Affairs, has written to the CEO of Optus, Ms. Bea Rosmarin, asking for that.
The full fuel excise returned at midnight. Petrol stations will now have to pay another 22 cents a litre tax on their fuel. Prices have already increased in some areas, but cheaper fuel should be available for the next few days. Many service stations still have fuel bought at the lower tax level in stock. South Australians are continuing to splurge at record levels. Michaela Kamarik has more.
Interest rate rises and growing inflation have so far failed to dent consumer confidence. Latest data released by the Australian Bureau of Statistics shows South Australians spent more than $2.2 billion in August. An additional $28.5 million was spent on retail, an increase of 1.3%. Nationally, almost $35 billion was spent last month, a rise of 0.6%. The result was driven by an increased spending in department stores on household goods and food, including takeaway, restaurants and cafes. Queensland and WA were the only jurisdictions to record a fall, while the Northern Territory was unchanged.
Hurricane Ian has made landfall in Florida. More than 800,000 people are without power, with sustained winds of nearly 250 kilometres an hour. The US President is offering federal assistance to Florida as the Category 4 lashes the state. Joe Biden says he's ready to help in any way possible.
We are on the alert and in action. We've approved every request Florida has made for temporary assistance, emergency assistance, long-term assistance that I've received.
Police officers will pause around the country today to pay tribute to those who made the ultimate sacrifice. Rhiannon Solomon-Marin has more.
A convoy of historic police vehicles will make its way to Canberra, carrying the touchstones of 15 fallen officers. It'll form part of commemorations being held nationwide to mark National Police Remembrance Day. In New South Wales, the state's police commissioner will join hundreds of serving and retired officers at the Wall of Remembrance to honour their colleagues killed in the line of duty. It's the first time the ceremony in the Domain will run at full capacity since 2019 due to pandemic restrictions.
Now to FIVEAA Sport.
10-year warranty and 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
And it's over to Tom Wren. Good morning.
Thank you, Mel. Good morning to you as well. We're going to start with some football. Port Adelaide is living true to its ambition of being aggressive ahead of this year's trade period, with Richmond's Jack Graham touring the club's facilities yesterday. He met with power coach Ken Hinkley, with the club keen to add to its midfield depth. Meantime, former Hawthorn coach Alistair Clarkson has fired back at racism allegations as the AFL comes under scrutiny for delaying an independent review. Christina Hearn reports.
The AFL Coaches Association is urging the league to speed up its investigation into shocking claims of racism at the Hawthorn Football Club. Alistair Clarkson, who's been accused of bullying and intimidating Indigenous players, says the leaking of the club report has seriously undermined, if not irrevocably corrupted, the chance of a fair process. Clarkson categorically denies any wrongdoing, saying he'll not hesitate to take further steps to protect his reputation. He's now called in the lawyers, as has former Hawks assistant Chris Fagan. The AFL hopes to finalise the panel to investigate the claims today or tomorrow.
To cricket, South Australia's been smashed by Tasmania in their March One-Day Cup clash in Brisbane overnight. The Redbacks were dismissed for only 220, and it was never going to be enough, with the Tigers chasing down the target in only the 33rd over. Nico Hines has won the Dahlia Medal for the NRL's Player of the Year. The Cronulla Sharks halfback polled the highest ever total of 38 votes. And Denmark will wear plain-coloured jerseys at the upcoming Football World Cup in a protest gesture aimed at Qatar's human rights record. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
For Zip Track, folding arm awnings, automatic sun blinds and outdoor blinds, choose Peter Jackson Blinds and Awnings.
Partly cloudy today, heading for a top of 18. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 19. Saturday, mostly sunny, 21. Right now, it's 6 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
6 after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Thursday on 5AA Breakfast. Take a look out the window this morning. It's about as bright as it gets heading into the long weekend. We'll change the clocks and then it'll change the look of the morning. But right now out there, looks and feels like it's just about midday. Nice day on the way. We'll talk about that in just a moment. Matt Abraham coming up after 7:30. Cannot wait to hear Matt Abraham's take on the spin around the new Women's and Children's Hospital. I mean the new Women's and Children's Hospital because new spot, new budget. Everything about it seems to be new, even from the iteration that never actually got constructed. So we'll talk with Matt about that at 7:30 today. That is going to be absolutely fascinating. The other thing we need your help with this morning, let's keep an eye on what's happening at our service stations. Let's keep an eye on the Bowsers and get a sense of what prices are doing. Had a bit of a look about 25 minutes ago. We had a bit of a scan around the place, looking around the $1.80 mark, which was largely where we were yesterday, so no violent jumps we've seen this morning, albeit some of the cheaper ones yesterday have jumped up. This, of course, because the fuel excise has come back on after the relief ended at 11:59 last night. So if you can tell us what it is in your area, what you've driven past, we much appreciate your help today. 8223 0000 the number. You can text us on the Automasters text line. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. I'll tell you what, the first thing I did this morning when I woke up was hit refresh on the Tysers website to see what the latest was with the Echunga Dam. It sounds like it's going to get out of this okay. The dredging or draining operation appears to be working. They think that by later this afternoon, that unless it collapses between now and then, they'll get all the water out. So would have been a scary experience for people living there, though. Well, it still would be. It'd still be unnerving.
Note Dan Cregan this morning, the speaker, quoted by the Tiser as saying that there's a host of these that potentially could be problematic up in the hills and regions, based on this era in which they were built from the late 40s to the late 60s, effectively, a whole heap of them on private land. His concern is that there could be more, and they need to do some sort of an audit or check in to prevent this being something that is more widespread. I just wonder how much this unbelievably wet period we've had, what's the likelihood we get that again? And we have to this point, it looks like, avoided any form of the worst case scenario here. So how likely is it that it's going to be worse than what we've had?
Well, who knows? But I guess the thing is, like, structurally, some of these dams, like, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, we've got plenty of listeners on the land who'd be able to tell me off if I'm talking tosh here, but my understanding is that if you own a property yourself and you want to make a dam, you just make the dam. You don't need to register a dam, do you?
No, though that's...
Like, you just go out there with a bulldozer and dig a bloody big hole.
The dam-related paperwork is really not my...
No,
it's not my strong suit.
But like, help me out, folks.
Yeah.
Any country listeners, anyone with a dam, tell me. But my understanding, well, certainly way back, like dams that were built in the 50s and 60s, I'd be stunned if there was any regulation or bylaw governing how you did it. You could just go out there and dig it yourself.
The SES have just issued some updated advice. In fact, the SES crew, supported by police and CFS, have worked throughout the night to lower the level of the dam using controlled pumping. This had to be done with care to only release water at a rate that did not exceed the capacity of the drainage system of Echunga. Otherwise, this may still have caused parts of Echunga to flood. Yes, you don't want to prevent the dam flooding by flooding the rest of the town with the water you've pumped out.
Be a case of throwing the baby out with the dam water.
The SES have now been able to reduce the level of the water in the dam by over 2 metres, and they're consulting with engineers to understand what further work needs to take place and will provide updated information to the community later this morning. Road closures will remain in place but are being assessed to ensure that locals can return to their homes as soon as it is safe to do so. There is an emergency warning still in place. The SES is still going to be there. SES Swiftwater Rescue technicians will be there on site too until they've decided that it is entirely safe. But reading between the lines, everything sounds like it's heading in the right direction, whereas this time yesterday it sounded quite the opposite.
It certainly did. Sam was up there like a shot. Our man on the spot, Sam Daddo, with nothing dramatic to report. When news doesn't break, 5AA's there.
That's favourite kind of news.
I'm champing at the bit to talk about the Adelaide City Council. Sure, should we wait? Should we wait a bit?
Yeah, wait. Because I think you're probably not going to be the only one.
The council would say, no, you're not talking about us. You're talking about the contractors who are doing the job.
Well, I remember how much fun we had with the slip and slide pavers of Hindley Street.
Torval and Dean.
Yeah, that's right.
Not just Hindley Street, Victoria Square
Victoria
as well.
Square, that's right. They were designed to have minimum grip. Not a feature that's usually asked for things you drive on.
We're talking about Bentham Street. Now, this is the street. If you're coming off Flinders, heading east toward, Franklin. If you're on Franklin Street, heading east towards the GPO, so you've got the bus station on your right, the excellent Franklin Hotel on your left, and you want to do a left-hand turn into the Topper Mall car park, the road that you take is Bentham Street. Well, historically you would, but since April you haven't been able to. Well, now, under the council's watch, not only will the street remain closed until December, so it's going to be 3 months, close to 3 months behind schedule. I go past this every Thursday when I go into the Tyser building to do Sky News. And it looks like the Gaza Strip. Like there's only one side you can walk on as a pedestrian. The racket is terrible. There's dust everywhere. They've been repaving it or reconcreting it, and now the concrete that they've poured is the wrong colour.
And it's still grey, isn't it?
Well, this is it. I mean, it's
not pink.
50 Shades of Grey. Like, no, exactly. It's not like they haven't gone for pink or bright yellow or turquoise or something. You'd have to be a real concrete fancier to work out that there's a discrepancy in the shade of grey. So the council, proving that the best type of money is other people's money, when we're all apparently in a state of penury thanks to the impact of the pandemic and the lockdown, have said, all right, let's rip it all up and put in the right coloured grey concrete. How hopeless is that?
They're saying it won't affect the final cost of the project.
How is that possible?
I don't know. Doing it again.
Or why do they just say to the contractors, your mistake, we're not paying
Your mistake, we're not paying for it, which, that's a tough one to fight. Councillor Alex Hyde sounds like the kind of guy I'd do a reno with and we'd both get along fine. He says, grey is grey, just get it done. If the shade is not that different, it's madness to rip it up and do it all over again, which is my approach to renovation, but it has proven to be one that leads to a whole bunch of domestic fights in the past.
Yeah.
That's whitish.
I often think near enough's good enough.
Yeah. It's levelish.
But that street, seriously, for most of the last 3 years it's been a shambles anyway because it was the quarantine zone. That lovely hotel on the corner was where people were being herded into quarantine.
It's been fencing and
waving wistfully to their loved ones down on the road. The other thing too, I know from personal experience from mates, everyone who works at the Tyser, and this is why the council the council's coverage on this is going to be particularly pointed. The entrance to the advertisers' car park is on that street. So the many people, all the sales reps who work at the Tyser, who are constantly meant to be in and out in their cars selling ads for the paper, they cannot. Since April, they've not been able to use the entrance to the car park. So the Tyser's got this massive car park under the building that currently is completely empty, and instead, and this is where it becomes a cost thing for the council, why they need to manage the city better. Everyone's now forced to pay out of their own pocket to use Topper Mall, which, as everybody knows, particularly for those people starting early work in the mornings, if you like to kick off your day or indeed finish your day by being screamed at by meth addicts, Topper Mall is the place to be.
Text coming through on the Automasters text line this morning. Tanya in Walkerville says the petrol she's just driven by $1.89.9. So that would be up from yesterday, but not dramatically, and certainly not in the order of the 25-cent increase to the return of the excise. Every dam constructed now needs to have a permit before construction, reads one text. Another says dams have to be approved nowadays to limit the amount of water held back from running down streams, and that wasn't the case in the past.
Yeah, a mate of mine who's got a property up in the hills texted saying, yeah, correct, years ago, no regulation. But now, massive regulation and permits are required.
Yeah, Steve makes the point. I had to build a dam on our property 22 years ago. You had to apply for the Department of Water and Natural Resources if it was on an existing watercourse shown on a topographical map. Not sure of the rules on a hillside. Thank you, Steve. Again, this one was pre-1968 that it was built. The range is intriguing. The dam was built between 49 and 68, which predates any planning control. So
yeah.
This was just made. 16 after 6. We're going to take a break. News headlines are coming up next.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles. My favourite National Tiles product of the month is magnificent classic oak hybrid flooring. Normally $600 for a 10 square metre room, this magnificent classic oak hybrid flooring is yours for under $400. But for this month only, and it's in stock now for immediate delivery. But you'll have to be quick, so rush into National Tiles and save on magnificent classic oak hybrid flooring now.
Since 1982, our passionate teams at First National Real Estate have worked 10,400 days and around 582 million hours across Australia with one common goal: to always put you first. And we'll be here in Adelaide to help you on your journey to your happy place. Be it a tree change, a sea change, upsize, downsize, or finding that investment gem. First National Real Estate. We put you first. firstnational.com.au.
It's one of the hardest and most complex decisions you can make, deciding on the future well-being of your parents.
Well, now you can find all of it in one place in the 2022 Aged Care Guide, and what's more, it's absolutely free.
In it, you'll find information on all aged care homes, home care providers, placement consultants, My Aged Care information, and a comprehensive list of aged care financial support services to give you a better understanding of costs. It also has a comprehensive list of providers of these services that will enable you to choose the best provider that suits you. Other features include types of care available, the ins and outs of short-term care, applying for funding, and much more.
For 22 years, the Aged Care Guide has supported local SA businesses. For your free copy of the 2022 Aged Care Guide, call 8276 7999. That's 8276 7999, and arrange to have it delivered free to your door.
Hey, you in the car. If your next service is due, just remember that Mawson Lakes Mazda has your back. We'll take care of you with next day servicing, complimentary loan car, vacuum and wash, and your breakfast or lunch is on us. Your car gets the love too, with our state-of-the-art service centre brimming with top-trained mechanics. At Mawson Lakes Mazda, we'll look after your car and look after you. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
Aldi's tender porterhouse steak is now only $19.99 per kilo, and there's nothing better than grilling this buttery cut over an open flame. Unless it's 2 a.m, you're in the woods, and that is not good. Aldi, good, different.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
19 minutes after 6. Now, we just heard this in Mel Usher's 6 a.m. news bulletin, but it's probably worth repeating because it was all day yesterday and throughout the night. The big story in South Australia and the big story in Echunga. An emergency warning does remain in place for the town of Echunga, but there's better news regarding the dam that was threatening to burst its banks. Penny Calver from the SES has the latest.
SES have now been able to reduce the level of the water in the dam by over 2 metres and are consulting with engineers to understand what further works need to take place. Road closures remain in place but are being assessed to ensure locals can return to their homes as soon as it is safe to do so.
Increases to petrol prices are expected to take 6 to 7 days to kick in now that the fuel excise has returned. The ACCC is warning petrol stations it's on the lookout for price gouging. Most service stations still have cheaper fuel in stock. That is, they bought it for cheaper. Wholesale. The retail equation is one that we're looking to jump into this morning. A few people are texting us Andrew in Woodcroft says, looked at the fuel on the way into work. The Brighton OTR and ex-convenience on Brighton Road, both at $1.89.9, which is kind of in the range of the natural increase we were seeing, not a massive jump.
Tanya in Walkerville said the same thing, $1.89.9.
Optus says it's identified close to 15,000 unexpired Medicare numbers which have been exposed as a result of last week's cyber attack. The telco says it will be contacting the owners of those cards today if they haven't already been contacted. I confess, the one part of the story, and I think it's probably the most important for normal people going about their lives that I don't grasp, is exactly who needs to get a new licence.
Well, how do you know? How do you necessarily know if you've been hacked? Like you were saying, you used to be an Optus
I used to be an
customer.
Optus, and so did my wife. She got an email, but I haven't.
Yeah.
Now,
I've always had Telstra, but equally, I did have Optus Sport for a while to watch the World Cup. And I was thinking, well, I can't remember ever submitting my passport or my Medicare number or anything for that, though.
And the volume of people whose details are exposed is smaller than we first suspected because it was 10 million that had been stolen, effectively. But then there was that tranche of 10,000 that were released sort of as a proof of life to say, hey, I've got this. I'll sell the rest if you don't pay me the money. But now the hackers deleted all the records, apparently. So who exactly are we talking about needs to be going to Service SA and getting a new licence or talking to the passport office?
Neither the hacker nor Optus have come out of this looking particularly competent, have they?
No.
Like the hackers being teased online. But what about the height of Optus? Basically saying to the community, well, we're sorry for the inconvenience. We did everything we could. Now, if people are going to have to apply for new passport numbers, that's going to cost them hundreds of dollars. I reckon Albo's right. This standoff that's emerging where he's saying, nah, sorry, Optus, you're paying for this. Like, how is it that the government is just this endless bailout machine in the eyes of corporate Australia?
Yep.
I mean, Qantas are the worst offenders. You know, whinging and moaning about life when we've given them $2 billion to keep their crappy airline running. But now, like, yeah, Optus going, well, we'd like the government to just automatically pick up the bill for all of these passport numbers that were revealed. Well, how about you do your jobs in the first place?
Yep. There's a difference between someone coming to your house, pinching your keys and stealing your car, and you leaving the keys in the car with the door wide open and you've walked away for the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
And Optus has seemingly done more of the latter than the former. The report's being released in a bid to make childhood dementia a healthcare priority. An estimated 2,273 Australians were living with the condition in 2021, and roughly 90 people die with it each year. The Childhood Dementia Initiative is pushing for more funding to focus on treatments and therapies for those affected. Just got some news to hand too from the Department of Infrastructure and Transport on the north-south motorway Waterloo corner. Speed and lane restrictions are in place for northbound traffic on the north-south motorway due to a truck accident just near the Port Wakefield Road off-ramp Waterloo corner. So speed and lane restrictions in place for northbound traffic, north-south motorway due to a truck accident just near the Port Wakefield off-ramp Waterloo corner.
I like this text from Mark in Leafy and Elegant Glenside as he describes it. He says, I work in the PwC building on Franklin Street, right around the corner from Bentham Street. I'm very distressed about the delay in renovating the street. I wanted chartreuse paving, not grey. If you ask the council, they might extend it for another 3 months. Mark.
How did we decide on grey? Are we happy with grey? I mean, the council might have really opened up the a Pandora's box here.
It's so weird, though.
It's time for a national conversation about the colour of pavers.
Well, okay, here's a question without notice. Do you prefer the colour of the footpath on Lee Street or Peel Street? Which is your favourite of the greys?
That's a great question.
Or more pertinently, have you got the faintest idea which shade is used on any street in the city?
I'm inclined to say I couldn't give a stuff.
Yeah. Couldn't give a rat's tookus.
But maybe
what
people
was
out
it
there...
Malcolm Blight said? A rat's toss bag.
A rat's toss bag.
Here we go.
That seems to be the appropriate measure of how much I care about the greenness of the footpath. The weather, though, is something I care about, and I like the look of this forecast because it's starting to look springish. 18 today. Excited. Now, there's no rain on the forecast either, which is good. Friday, 19, clear. Saturday, 21. Sunday, 22. Monday, 23.
Yes.
And then it does rain again. Tuesday next week, 22
right.
and up to 10 mils of rain. Wednesday, 19 and up to 5. But if that 22, 23 range becomes the norm for a while, there won't be any complaints here. Let's talk sport. Tom Wren's in the 5AA Breakfast studio. He's got that capacity, Rennie, to dress totally inappropriately for the conditions because it was about 8 degrees the other day and he was in shorts and he's got the big puffer jacket on this morning right as we're starting to warm up. You need to recalibrate, Randy. New Mitsubishi Trite with 10-year warranty, 10-year cap price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi. Nailsworth and Elizabeth, good morning.
I've needed to recalibrate for many, many years now, Will. It's fun being just that little bit weird and stupid.
You're an eccentric.
Yeah. Boys, what about yesterday? So Jack Graham came into town. No, I'm just here to see family and not going to see any of the clubs. And then an hour later, he rocks up at Albert. And look,
I mean,
he's
you feel
24.
for him.
Yeah.
It was inappropriate that his family decided to meet him within the headquarters at Alberton. I mean, it really made life difficult for him.
And look, that's
Hi,
the
Mum.
game.
Hi, Dad. Hi, Ken.
And it's awkward for him. He wouldn't be used to, I suppose, that fanfare. In a 10-team town, you sort of almost anonymous, whereas you come to Adelaide and that blowtorch is on you, that fishbowl, immediately envelops you. But I think he's a great fit for Port. We've discussed this. Ken Hinkley and Port, I think, are openly aggressive. It's chips in for Ken. It's
1 year.
It's we win it or we say goodbye.
Nurse.
So I think you've got to go in. You've got to put the cards on the table and say, okay, here's my chip stack. That's what I'm putting in.
He's a great character guy.
Yep.
You bring him in. He's been in winning cultures.
Yep.
He's had the look and feel of a captain his entire footballing career since he's been about 18.
A bit like when they got Hardwick before they won in 04.
Yeah, and look, he's not
one of those mature heads who knows how not to panic, how to keep the young blokes in the tent.
And he's not an A-plusser, is he? But he's a very good player and probably a surplus to needs at Richmond with Hopper Taranto coming in. Graham, I'm sure, is looking around going, well, where the hell do I fit? So we'll see how that plays out. Then in terms of the Redbacks last night, I think I've told you they're my favourite team to follow because they always sort of build you up and then break you back down again. It's very, you go through this process with them. And the first game, I was like, this is the one. They beat Queensland. They look magnificent. Then last night, they were belted. They were absolutely smashed by Tasmania. But I am confident they're on the right track. Jason Gillespie's doing good things there, very good things. But they were smashed by 8 wickets within 33 overs. It was a bad loss.
Oh, yeah, that's no good. Maybe they got it out the way.
Yeah, that's their bad one.
Yeah, hopefully.
I've been saying that for 30 years. That's their bad one.
That's right. They're just about to turn the corner.
Yeah.
10-year warranty, 10-year cap price servicing, Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
Get a read on local dining. Get a read on when the sun will be shining. Get a read on 2020 bashes and news flashes. Get a read on fuel hikes, rate spikes and red carpet delights. Get a read on grounded flyers, first home buyers and battles down to the wire. Get a read on today with The Advertiser and enjoy full digital access for only $1 a week for the first 12 weeks. Minimum cost $4. Search The Advertiser offer today. Conditions apply.
G'day, it's Mark Bickley. When you buy a Leader computer, you're buying a computer made right here in Adelaide. You're dealing with people that live in Adelaide, and when it comes to servicing or support, it all happens here in Adelaide. Not overseas, not interstate. Unlike some others, Leader don't have to send anything off for repair. They take care of everything right here. It makes sense to live life local. Live life Leader. Leader Computers. Find your local dealer at leadersystems.com.au.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide tech guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
If you're looking to upgrade your laptop, choose the best new laptop of 2022. HP's Envy X360. For starters, it's a 2-for-1 device, which means it's a laptop with a flip screen to make it more like a tablet. It comes with 16 gig of RAM and a 512 gig solid-state drive. Basically, it's fast and reliable with great speeds for Zoom calls, web browsing and all the best online office software. The Envy is thin and light too. It has a micro-edge display giving you more screen space. Make your family jealous with the beautifully designed HP Envy, available now at Harvey Norman for only $1,999. Plus, you'll score a bonus $200 Harvey Norman gift card.
Check out this great offer at 5AA.com.au. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
Mortein, everybody's talking about Mortein.
And everybody's talking about Mortein Kia for immediate delivery on selected Kia vehicles. Mortein Kia at Cheltenham has secured limited Kia vehicles that can be delivered today. Call 8300 and ask for Matt Broadbent to secure your new Kia today and enjoy the ever-reliable 7-year warranty. And that's why everybody's talking about Mortein Kia, for it's their uncanny ability to secure Kia vehicles for immediate delivery.
Mortein.
MVD 182170.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 18 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Hydrotherapy at Physio Extra Marion has individual sessions and classes claimable on private health and NDIS.
Ichunga residents may be able to return to their homes within hours. The SES has been able to lower the water level of that dam threatening to burst. The service's Penny Kavler says they remain cautious.
Road closures remain in place but are being assessed to ensure locals can return to their homes as soon as it is safe to do so. An emergency warning message remains in place.
A man's been arrested following a police chase south of the city. Patrols spotted a Toyota sedan speeding on Smith Avenue at Noarlunga Centre just before 1 a.m. It failed to stop and was pursued to Huntfield Heights, where it ended up on a dead-end street. The 36-year-old behind the wheel has been charged with several offences, including driving disqualified. He's been bailed to front court next month. 3 Service SA branches, Marion, Prospect and Elizabeth, will be open for longer today to deal with the influx of people needing a new driver's licence. Those outlets will close at 7 p.m. instead of 5. Branches were inundated yesterday in the wake of the Optus breach. The fuel excise returned to 44 cents a litre nationwide at midnight, but there may be a lag time of up to 5 days before the price we pay is impacted. Service stations still have cheaper fuel in stock. A new independent advocacy group aims to tackle issues facing the aged care and disability sectors. Carewatch Australia has been established by Stuart Johnston, whose mother experienced abuse at the Oakden nursing home. He wants to help others in similar situations.
There's going to be a clear avenue now through Carewatch that if something is wrong, and there is a significant amount out there that is, we will walk with them in order to get the proper authorities.
Hurricane Ian has hit Florida as an extremely dangerous Category 4 storm. Winds of up to 250 kilometres an hour have downed street signs and sent debris flying as more than 1 million residents are now without power. US President Joe Biden says the government is ready to support the recovery.
The storm warnings are real, the evacuation notices are real, the danger is real, and when the storm passes, the federal government's going to be there to help you recover.
We're being asked to consider donating our time as one of the country's largest volunteering groups marks a major anniversary. It's been 75 years since the first Lions Club began operating in Australia. Lions Australia Chief Executive Rob Orlemans says the organisation has grown a lot since then.
We welcome new members, men, women, young people, older people to participate in our Lions Clubs. What you'll find is it's a family environment. It's a great and satisfying experience, and you'll meet people who become your lifelong friends.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
New Mitsubishi Triton with 10-year warranty, 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Let's start with some footy. Brad Scott has officially entered the Essendon coaching race. The former North Melbourne coach will be interviewed today. Bombers great Matthew Lloyd has welcomed the development.
I'm pretty excited, to be honest, that someone of that quality has now said they want to coach the club.
Josh Dunkley's tenure with the Western Bulldogs has ended on a high. The midfielder won the club's Best and Fairest award as he prepares to join Brisbane. Tom Liberatore finished second while Aaron Norton was third. To rugby league, Cronulla halfback Nico Hines has capped off a stunning first year at the Sharks by taking out the NRL's Dally M medal. Polling 38 votes, he finished well clear of James Tedesco and Ben Hunt on 33 and 32 respectively. Hines says he rocked up to the ceremony only expecting to drink a few beers and catch up with some mates.
Honestly, I can hand to heart say I never thought I'd ever win a Dally M medal, and there's just so many people been in my corner that have backed me to the hills and stuck by me when other people didn't, and I can't thank those people enough, and they all know who they are.
To cricket now, and the Redbacks have gone down by 8 wickets against Tasmania in their Marsh One-Day Cup match in Brisbane overnight. The Opals 2006 World Cup winning team is being inducted into the Australian Basketball Hall of Fame. Meantime, Australia will play against Belgium tonight in the quarterfinals of the Women's Basketball World Cup. And Sam Kerr has struck for Chelsea in a 3-1 win over West Ham in the English Women's Super League. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
For Zip Track, folding arm awnings, automatic sun blinds and outdoor blinds, choose Peter Jackson Blinds and Awnings.
18 for your Thursday and partly cloudy tomorrow 19, Saturday mostly sunny 21, Sunday mostly sunny and 22. Right now it's 8 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
$25 to 7. By virtue of an Adelaide City Council bungle, somehow the colour of pavement's on the agenda this morning. Helen on the Automasters text line says, I think cobblestone paths are very European. I think this is a real conversation starter.
Oh,
dull grey is out.
Yes.
Shades of grey are in.
Shades of grey.
Maybe not by design, but we're ripping it up and doing some of them again. Lots of texts as well about fuel this morning. We're keeping an eye on the petrol pump with the fuel excise returning to full strength. When you factor in GST and everything, it essentially adds in the order of 25 cents to the price. The federal government are saying, by way of Treasurer Jim Chalmers, that will come on gradually over the course of 6 or 7 days. They don't want petrol stations whacking it on in one hit because that's disingenuous. They've bought petrol without the excise on it, so they should be able to accommodate people for a period. We're not seeing any evidence that it's been whacked on this morning, but again, let us know. 8223 0000. Text us on the Automasters text line. Just been alerted to this website, magpiealert.com. I wonder if anyone uses this. I'm obsessed with it now. In fact, I've just spent the entire news break reading it. People can register their magpie swooping incidents.
Oh, how cool.
Nationwide. So you can get a picture of where the problematic birds are. And the way that map works is entirely interactive. You can see where people had near misses. That's a yellow magpie symbol. If it's a red, there was an injury occurred.
Direct hit.
And it's like battleships. People then go and report their incidents.
C4. D6.
For example, the most recent was 44 Moss Road, Salisbury Park. Ian said one swoop with a little helmet tap. Injured? No. Chelsea was on 13 Gurumbi Crescent in Manapara, swooped 4 to 5 times within a 50-metre distance along the walking trail, walked back with a friend and a tall stick, and no swooping. Injured? No. Now, you got a range of these sorts of things.
See, can you call up a map like,
Oh, yeah.
like when you're trying to find the Christmas lights on the Tysers website?
It's exactly like that.
Yeah, right.
Interesting to know, your part of Adelaide seems to be largely magpie-free. I don't know, you've got some explaining to do. I'm not sure what kind of control measures are in place in the inner south, but...
we got heaps of magpies.
No, none that are problematic. The closest one that's an issue to you is in the Parklands. It's up near South Terrace that's been reported. Nothing in the Wayville Goodwood area. Largely the
What about Grange? How are you looking down your way?
We've got a bad one, it turns out, and I wasn't aware of this. Down the bottom of Jetty Street at Grange.
Oh yeah, near the
there's a
coffee
swooper,
shops.
and then on Trimmer Parade, sort of at the border with Westlakes, there's not just a near miss, but there's a hit.
Oh,
and
wow.
they're right next to each other. So there's Adelaide's angriest magpie might be on Trimmer Parade. Wonder if anyone's ever used the website or is aware of any spots where it's particularly bad. It seems to be sort of inner northwest. I don't know enough about the migratory patterns of the magpie to know whether that's significant in any way, but that seems to be the area where, at very least, the most registrations of near misses happen. But the website, anyway, magpiealert.com, seems to be largely cyclists who, they're covering large distances, and swooping can be beyond just a little bit of a nuisance for them.
Do the cable ties work? When you see cyclists who put like hundreds of cable ties into their helmet.
They must do. Or the big googly eyes.
Yeah. So you look like you're a, pterodactyl or something.
Well,
bigger.
tell us, folks, as you may be aware, David and I don't ride that often. 8223 0000, text us on the
Actually,
Automasters text line.
I rode about 4 years
You
ago
did?
to Chili Mojo and back, which is a reasonable ride for someone who hasn't ridden for years.
You were a rider back in the day, weren't you? Did you get swooped?
No, I didn't get swooped. I got quite puffed out. Forgot that Green Hill Road's got a slight gradient on it. When I got to the very top, I was in quite a state.
Mark suggested, I think, gently, that I might need to get a life. Mark says, Will, you're obviously running out of things to look at on the net. Small things.
Well, the basketball season's not on at the
It actually
moment.
starts in about a week. So, I get to this point in the off-season, I'm really desperate. No, it doesn't take much to fascinate me, Mark. Mike in Woodcroft says, guys, I haven't been an Optus customer for more than 3 years, but received an email from telling me my details had been hacked. As I'm no longer a client, why were my details kept? Excellent question, Mike. I can only assume it was because I was considered a commodity to them. These companies should be made to delete information once a customer is no longer a client. Or even more than that, none of the really rich data, the important data they kept, they needed to do anything that pertains to being Optus. They only needed it for the moment they were checking your credit history or getting you to identify yourself to open an account. After that point, there is utterly no reason for them to hold on to any of that information.
I got an email yesterday from a financial planner who I've used on and off again in Sydney for years, great bloke. But they said, we're just doing our annual bills. And I'm like, yeah, sure, that's fine, I'll pay you as I always do. And they said, we just need your driver's licence. And I haven't emailed them back yet, but I thought, in the current climate, what is a financial plan? And they said it was for compliance. Compliance with what? Why do they need a driver's licence? I'm just paying them for them, once every 2 years going, hey, you're getting ripped off a bit with your mortgage. Maybe we can get onto the bank and say, can you shave a...
Yeah, who's being protected?
Yeah. Why does a financial planner need my driver's licence?
Sam Daddo's in the studio. Morning, Sam.
Quickly talking about magpies, I went to a school which was a baseball specialist school, Seton High, and I did baseball.
High?
Yep, and there was a magpie who would sit in a tree above first base. So if you've hit the ball and you've gotten yourself to first, you're getting swooped. Without a doubt, every spring.
So would you try and turn every single into a double?
I just would strike out and not bother.
Thank you,
You
Sam.
just go for the home run.
Thank you. Let's go to Stewie in Manapara. Morning, Stewie.
Morning, gents. How are we?
Good, mate.
Thanks, Jade.
Just on that website, I think more beneficial would be if they turned around and had you put your face on or what you're wearing. Because magpies, they predominantly attack the same person or the same type of person, i.e. someone with a helmet on. And it might be a black helmet, but they won't touch someone with a red. It might be the same person with long brown hair, and they remember the face, and it's been proven. So maybe, get on the website, and if they provide pictures, and you go, geez, that looks like me, I wouldn't walk that way with that magpie.
That is an excellent point, Stewie. Well, that research came out recently that they have long memories. They remember people.
Maybe you could get, like in the old gag magic show bag, some sort of Groucho Marx glasses and nose and moustache for when you're walking through the parklands.
They're pretty smart, though. Yeah. Hang on. This is a try-on.
Hello.
Matt in Salisbury Heights says, please help me out. Why the need for cable ties for magpie protection? One would think a helmet would be sufficient magpie defence on its own. Is it? Now, the science, isn't the idea that they will attack the highest point, basically? So if you've got some cable ties or something or other, they'll swoop well away from your head. That's my understanding. Maybe there's some other explanation of what they are.
I got the shock of my life before. I was sitting out on the balcony just enjoying some fresh air and the sunrise just before 6 o'clock. And on the fourth floor here in Homo Square, so I'm sitting right on the edge of the balcony, and this massive Maggie just came flying up and was literally about like half a metre away from my head, just staring at me. Just outside right here.
Gave you a bit of a looking at me moment.
Well, no, it was really looking at me.
You're looking at me?
What are you doing?
I don't see anybody else here.
Are you talking to me? Yeah, you talking to me? Are you talking to me? Can't really do the entire monologue on air.
No.
Get shut down by ACMA.
No. 17 to 7.
You make the move. Your move.
Let's check traffic. Before you head off on your road trip to do the fun stuff, let RAA do the car stuff.
Good morning, boys. At Waterloo Corner, keep your eyes out for a crash this morning. It's involving a truck on the Northern Connector near the Port Wakefield Road ramp. Speeds reduced as you're heading outbound. Marston, you'll find restrictions after some urgent waterworks there. Marion Road near Watson Avenue. Speeds currently at 40, pretty slow going too. And around Echunga, various roads closed around the town for those emergency dam works. Avoid that area if you can today. Get 50% off Silly Posturepedic mattresses now at 40 Winks. Plus, earn double Qantas points. Ends Sunday. Terms, conditions and exclusions apply. 40 Winks, serious about sleep. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The next generation of mighty South Aussies have spoken.
Equal rights for everyone.
Oceans without junk in them.
No nasty chemicals in things.
Search Sustainable 7 to hear more about what the future's got in store for Foodland.
Edwardstown Mazda, I thought I'd put together some fish tacos with pineapple salsa. You can download the recipe at edwardstownmazda.com.au, and if you're looking for a quality used vehicle, Dave's your guy.
Living with diabetes?
The Freestyle Libre 2 sensor-based glucose monitoring system helps you manage and check your glucose levels with 0 finger pricks and is clinically proven to lower your HbA1c. Now subsidised for all people with type 1 diabetes. Go to subsidychecker.com.au and upgrade to Freestyle Libre 2 today. For people aged 4+ with insulin requiring diabetes, always follow the directions for use. Read the warnings before purchase.
It isn't waste until you waste it. That's the catch cry from an amazing company called Eco Waste Solutions. Eco Waste Solutions is a hard waste recycling facility, not a dump, located at Williston. They'll take everything except hazardous waste and food scraps. They'll take your waste bricks, your mattresses, tyres, soil, timber, steel, concrete and more. Plus, if you pre-sort your load, you'll receive a 50% discount on disposal fees. Google Eco Waste Solutions Williston for more.
Will retirement living suit you? You're invited to FIVEAA's Spring Open Day events to get a sneak peek of the lifestyle you could look forward to. Enjoy free refreshments and activities, explore our communities, inspect our display homes and chat with our friendly team. There's even a chance to win $10,000 when you RSVP. With 3 events across Adelaide on October 15, take the first step and search FIVEAA Open Day today. RSVP is essential and COVID-safe practices apply. See website for T's and C's. Licence number T22/1434.
Get a read on fuel hikes, rate spikes and red carpet delights. Get a read on today with The Advertiser and enjoy full digital access for only $1 a week for the first 12 weeks. Minimum cost $4. Search The Advertiser offer today. Conditions apply.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
Thirteen to 7, it's Thursday morning, which means Matt Abraham after 7:30 and also Smeg Hour after 7:32. We've got a Smeg appliance to give away. Building or renovating, your first choice should be visiting the Smeg showroom at Debney Distributors. Taste the difference with Smeg. The sun is up, it is out, and it will be for the next few days, it looks like. Jenny Horvat has the fine duty of taking us through what looks like some lovely weather that's on the way. Jenny, good morning to you.
Good morning, Dave. Good morning, Will.
So, Jenny, there's been a pursuit. I'll spit it out in the southern suburbs.
No, Jenny's doing the weather.
Oh, hang on, I've totally jumped ahead.
Unless you're across the pursuit, Jenny.
That's the second time I've done that.
Not actually. I can't help you with that one, but I can do the weather.
Oh my God. Sorry, Jenny. If you do know anything about any major crimes that are underway, feel free to go off script and give us the latest. But otherwise, we can probably get a typically excellent weather forecast from you.
Yeah,
Jenny.
I might just stick with the weather for you today.
Good stuff.
Look, pretty stable for the next couple of days. Got a high pressure system sitting to our south, so directing a bit of a cooler south-southeasterly airstream over us. So a little bit of cloud around, but there'll also be a little bit of sun. It was a little bit of a cool start this morning. We got down to 6.1 degrees at about 10 to 5, and we're currently sitting at 8.4 degrees at our West Terrace Night Appear observation site. We are aiming for 18 degrees for the city of Elizabeth and out the bay. Noarlunga looking at around 17 degrees. Mount Barker 15 for today. Not dissimilar tomorrow with that high still remaining stationary, maybe a little bit milder, looking at a minimum temperature around 9 or 10 degrees, maximum getting up to around 19 degrees. Mostly sunny for Saturday there. We are looking at around 21 degrees, so those temperatures slowly on the rise. There's a little bit of moisture coming across from the eastern states, so there is a slight chance to see a little bit of shower activity in the afternoon about the hills, but I'm not expecting too much. Not dissimilar on the Sunday there again, but not too much in that. But for the city, mostly sunny and 22 degrees for Sunday. Getting up to around 23 degrees for the long weekend Monday there. We've got our next system coming across from the west on the Monday, but I feel like that'll come in really late on Monday with some shower activity or early Tuesday morning. So we are looking at Tuesday having some showers around with this trough moving through. 22 degrees, back down to around 19 on Wednesday. Still the chance to see some shower activity around.
Fantastic, Jenny. Thank you. Sorry to throw you like that at the start.
Senior forecaster Jenny Horvat from the Bureau. Let's head to SAPOL now. Senior Constable Peter Williams has the forecast for us. No,
I thought I'd go with a fishing report this morning, guys.
Peter, tell us about this pursuit in the southern suburbs.
I thought Jenny was all over it, but just before 1 a.m. today, police spotted a silver Toyota sedan travelling at speed on Smith Avenue at Noarlunga Centre. They attempted to stop the vehicle, but the driver refused and sped off from patrols. The car was followed through numerous roads in Huntfield Heights before turning into Yeltana Avenue and coming to a stop in a dead end where the driver and sole occupant of the vehicle was arrested without incident. A 36-year-old man from Christie Downs was charged with driving dangerously to escape pursuit and driving disqualified. He was bailed to attend at the Christie's Beach Magistrates Court on the 27th of October.
And a very solemn day, Peter, National Police Remembrance Day, when the nation stops to remember the many men and women who've lost their lives, making sure that people uphold the law.
Yeah, so today it's probably one of the most important days on the policing calendar, National Police Remembrance Day. It's a day that's been commemorated annually since 1989. And this year, no different, South Australia Police will hold numerous ceremonies across the state to honour and remember the 61 dedicated SAPOL members and those from other Australian jurisdictions who have lost their lives in the line of duty. It's important to acknowledge the role that police play in the community and the dangerous circumstances they find themselves in at times, and to remember that those that never made it home. A number of venues also tonight across Adelaide will light up in blue and white checkered lights as a show of support and acknowledgement of this day.
Peter, also there's you've got a message for the Echunga locals.
Yeah, so just reiterating the message from the SES that this time, while things look to be on the improve, the warning remains obviously still at the same level, and there'll be further assessments that will occur through the morning on that. Some road closures still do remain in place, and they're continually being assessed. We'd definitely like to thank our fellow emergency service volunteers from SES and the other agencies. They've done an incredible job over the last 24 to 36 hours to get it to this point. They've worked fairly tirelessly through rain and cold conditions to do their best to prevent the worst-case scenario. So also a big thank you to the Echunga locals and the support and the cooperation from the wider community who listened to the advice, acted quickly, which has allowed emergency services just to get on with the job safely as possible. We understand some people have obviously been put out overnight as well and out of their homes, but we appreciate the understanding and the cooperation that they've shown through the incident.
Good stuff, Peter. Thank you for that.
Senior Constable Peter Williams from SAPOL. Hurricane Ian has hit the Florida coast. Sustained wind speeds of 250 k's an hour. 250 k's an hour. This is an area that's particularly given to severe flooding. It's also the home to a number of theme parks like Disney World, SeaWorld. They're all being closed. The moon rocket launch at Kennedy Space Centre, this is the one that's been put off a number of times because of fuel leaks, has been postponed as well. They've had to put it back in the giant shed. But on the ground is our next guest, Tim Lester in Naples, Florida, who's been very much in the heart of the action this morning. Tim, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys.
So, Tim, we can hear a bit of wind in the background. What is it like where you are currently?
Well, it's the intensity of the wind has been frightening at times. If anything, in the hour and a half or so since the eye of the storm came ashore, it's dropped off a bit, but the water is still rising. And this is the threat that you only begin to understand, I think, when you actually see it at play, the storm surge threat that American hurricane specialists have been warning the people here about for days now. They've said that the storm surge, that is the wave of water pushed ashore by 250 kilometre an hour winds, could have been in some cases and will be elsewhere in others about 2 stories high, 5.5 metres, up to about that height. It's an astonishing wall of water. We went to go to the coast and we couldn't get there because the coast effect has been blown inland kilometres and kilometres. We're still 3 kilometres from the coast and marooned on a kind of an island around the service station.
So, Tim, does that allow you to be mobile, or are you having to sort of lock down and stay safe somewhere?
No, we're locked down. And there's probably 20 or 30 locals on the island with us. Locked down, they've waded in, many of them telling us that their homes are now completely inundated. Others who tried to drive, and there's a scattering of cars around my landscape now that are just abandoned in the middle of this stream and slowly disappearing as the water rises. And we've got to wait it out. You don't know how high the water's going to run. There isn't a sense of panic here, but there is a sense that we don't know where all of this ends. And in the wider picture for Florida, of course, we really have no idea yet of the damage nor how long the storm will last.
Well, mate, you keep safe.
Yep.
It sounds like a pretty intense situation, and it's going to remain safe for at least 48 hours by all reports. Tim Lester in Naples, Florida for the 7 News US Bureau.
There was a pretty extraordinary moment on Sunrise this morning where Tim Lester was doing a cross, and we had to be quick with him there because, as you can hear, it's a serious situation he's currently in at the moment. But as he was doing the cross, his cameraman saw some people trying to, as he says, wade through the water to get to the island of it. And they're not on an island; they're in a service station that's acting as an island because the ground around it's on higher ground, so it's a safe haven a little bit. But there were people trying to get to them, and during the cross, his cameraman put the camera on the ground and ran over and started helping him carry stuff through. And Tim himself turned cameraman and continued the cross. It's an extraordinary bit of television. Here's how it played out.
Keep going. Keep going.
Are you okay?
Yes. It's an enormous storm. Yeah, no, fine. We're just helping some people through the water here. That's our camera operator, Glenn Ellis out there. I think you can see trying to help people who are wading away from their homes. We've spoken to a couple of them, and they tell us already that their houses have been lost in the water. They're flooded right through, and they've had to abandon them. They've just had no other way of doing it, but they're trying to get out. And obviously what we've got here is relatively high ground, so we're lucky enough to be able to talk to you, and this is a place where people in Naples, Florida, are now coming to try to get away from the water, essentially. Well, in fact, the state is, but the problem they've got is that water like this quickly isolates patches of land like the one we're on. We're on essentially a little block with a service station on it, and people, if they get to here, can't necessarily get off and go anywhere. I'm not even sure we're going to be doing a lot of moving. We're just a bit tangled up with our cords there. Good job, Glenn. Glenn rushing out there and helping some people in.
It's just a remarkable a bit of television, and those watching on the Foodland supermarkets, Facebook and YouTube live stream will have caught it just then, but you'll doubtless see it replayed across the day. We hope Tim's all right. We hope he's safe there because it sounds like he's going to be stuck there for a while.
I was just looking on the map. I didn't know where Naples, Florida was. It's pretty much, it's on the opposite side of the Panhandle, as it's known, which is the long bit of land that sticks out to create Florida that looks like the handle on a frying pan. So Miami's on one side, on the eastern side, facing the Atlantic, and then pretty much directly on the other side is Naples, so it's facing straight into the Gulf of Mexico. And you just think about like how many times Haiti, Hurricane Katrina, like it's just been the venue for so much of this swirling destruction. And when you look at the aerial shot of what the innocuously named Ian is up to, still hard to be terrified by the name Ian, but it's looking more and more frightening by the day.
It is 2 to 7. 5AA News is coming up. We'll take you through some of the developing stories of the morning next.
Ray White, big name in real estate, but also the biggest name in business broking. What makes us big? Our people, like Brett Buckley and his team. MBA, lecturer, and multi-time SA Business Broker of the Year. Brett doesn't just read a P&L, he feels it. If you're selling or expanding your business, Brett can take your business apart and find you more money. And we're not talking small change. Go on, touch base with Brett. Search Ray White Business Sales SA.
For over 38 years, Steinborner has been well worth the trip. With over 400 used cars to choose from, you're sure to find the car you're looking for. Steinborner is your first choice for new Hyundai and Mitsubishi in the Barossa, and your first choice for Ford in Clare. And don't forget, you can always click through the collection of vehicles online at steinborner.com.au. Great local deals on great local cars from your locals. Steinborner Automotive. Still well worth the trip, or well worth the click.
This weekend is a super weekend at your local Cheapers Chips, and that means it's a super opportunity to live cheaper with their cheap prices.
Now, if you're giving your home the spring refresh and there's all those things that don't have a spot, well, make one. Organise your bits and bobs with 20% off a select range of furniture and shelves.
Now, we love our pets, but sometimes their pet beds, they've seen a bit too much tough love. Well, not to worry. Cheapers Chips have 15% off all cat and dog beds.
And if you think that's crazy, listen up, because there's more madness from the totally outrageous Cheapers Chips folks. If you're into personal grooming, I know Will is, particularly with his the resumption of the old TV career. 30% off Prinetti Grooming. You can grab a new hair curler for just $17.50, Will.
I'm getting the perm in place for Friday night. For more super weekend deals, check the back page of this week's Cheap as Chips catalogue or head to your local Cheap as Chips.
A train travelling at 100 kilometres per hour needs the length of 2 football ovals to stop. Trains can't stop quickly. You can. Stand back, look up, stay rail safe. A message from the Government of South Australia.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 18 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations. PhysioExtra.com.
There's been a police chase in the southern suburbs. Senior Constable Peter Williams says it started just before 1 this morning.
Police spotted a silver Toyota sedan travelling at speed on Smith Avenue at Noarlunga Centre. They attempted to stop the vehicle, but the driver refused and sped off from patrol. The car was followed through numerous roads in Huntfield Heights before turning into Yeltana Avenue and coming to a stop in a dead end.
The 36-year-old male driver was arrested without incident. He's been charged and bailed ahead of a court appearance. It's been another long night at Ichunga, but there's been progress regarding that dam threatening the township. The water level has dropped due to controlled pumping. But Penny Kavler from the SES says they're still not allowing people to go home just yet, and the emergency warning remains in place.
Highly trained personnel from emergency services, including SES Swiftwater Rescue Technicians, remain on site until the risk of major flooding is reduced.
3 Service SA branches will open till 7 tonight. The hours have been extended at Marion, Prospect and Elizabeth, so Optus customers can get a new driver's licence. The application form needed can be downloaded online, but it must be lodged in person for verification purposes. Meantime, Optus has confirmed the valid Medicare ID numbers of almost 15,000 Australians have been exposed to hackers. The telco says it will contact all of the affected customers within 24 hours. On top of the Medicare numbers being exposed, Optus says a further 22,000 expired IDs have been accessed. Hurricane Ian has made landfall in the US as a Category 4. Florida is copping winds near 240 k's an hour and over 1 million homes are without power. Russia appears to be gaining ground in Ukraine as the invasion continues. Carrie-Anne Greenbank reports.
Russia could move to annex 4 regions of Ukraine as soon as Friday, when President Putin is set to address both houses of Russian parliament after pro-Moscow officials declared victory in the referendum being held in Russian-controlled territory, which is being described as a sham by the West. If Russia does annex those territories, it'll be carving out 15% of Ukraine's land, an area the size of Portugal or Hungary, and Western leaders will not recognise the move as legal.
We're being encouraged to get our heart health checked this World Heart Day. Heart specialist Dr. Shane Naniakara says aortic stenosis has several symptoms and is a condition that they continue to treat.
Aortic stenosis is one of those conditions where one of the valves in the heart will narrow down, and usually people feel short of breath. They might feel tired, they might get chest pain or be lightheaded. And it's an easy thing to pick up once you have an ultrasound of your heart, but sometimes those symptoms can go on for a long time. People put it down to just getting older.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
10-year warranty and 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
And women's football is in the spotlight, Tom Wren.
Yeah, looking forward to this one tomorrow night. It's going to be huge, isn't it, Mel? The first AFLW showdown, and Port Adelaide captain Erin Phillips says she's expecting a fierce battle with former teammate Chelsea Randall when the Power come up against the Crows for the first time tomorrow night. Now, the two shared some incredible memories, having won 3 flags together, but Phillips says Randall will be as physical and tough on her if they do happen to line up on one another.
If it's me, she runs alongside, I expect her to, do the exact same thing to me. So both have, obviously, we're great mates, a lot of respect between each other and both teams. But at the end of the day, we both play to win, and that's what we'll be doing Friday night.
Meantime, the Power men's side is stepping up its bid to be aggressive during the trade period, with Richmond's Jack Graham meeting with coach Ken Hinkley at the club yesterday. To cricket, disappointment for the Redbacks as they were well beaten by Tasmania in their clash last night. The Tigers chasing down the target of 221 in just the 33rd over, cruising home by 8 wickets and collecting the bonus point in the process. To the NRL, Sharks playmaker Nico Hines has stormed home to win the Dally M medal with the highest tally in the awards history. And the Adelaide Giants are set to have their 25th player move on to play in the major leagues. Logan O'Hoppe, who played with the Giants from 2019 to 2020, has been called up to the Los Angeles Angels. He plays today for LA against the Oakland Athletics, with that game set to begin just after 11 a.m. our time. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Waterloo Corner, look out for a crash involving a truck on the Northern Connector near the Port Wakefield ramp. Speeds reduced outbound. Marston, restrictions after some urgent waterworks there. Marion Road near Watson Avenue. Speeds currently slowing down to 40. While at Echunga, various roads are closed around the town for those emergency dam works. Avoid the area if you can. Camera-wise, look out for those today. You'll find them on Commercial Road, Moana, and FIVEAA Tourist at North Adelaide. Shopping is so much easier when you use the Coles app. Plan ahead to see your savings. Create an in-store shopping list to help you stick to your budget. Download the Coles app today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
For Zip Track, folding arm awnings, automatic sun blinds and outdoor blinds, choose Peter Jackson Blinds and Awnings.
Partly cloudy 18 today, partly cloudy tomorrow 19, Saturday mostly sunny 21 and 22 on Sunday. Right now it's 10 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
Six minutes after 7, 29th of September. Sun is up. Beautiful weather on the way over the course of the next 5 days and the long weekend as well. It's going to be absolutely spring-like and the first time we could be able to say that in this season.
Looking real good.
Finally, it's going to be nice, clear, warm.
Got the T-shirt on.
You have got the Van Halen T-shirt on. True to type.
That's right.
Always a band T-shirt.
1984.
How many band T-shirts do you own?
Well, probably about 20, I think.
That's all?
Yeah,
I think you're selling yourself short. I've seen you rotate
Okay.
more than 20. I think you're selling it short. Hey, big morning for your research, folks, to help us out in the program as we try and get a sense of how the return of the full fuel excise is impacting petrol prices. The Treasurer has warned he doesn't want to see prices jump back up instantly, but he shouldn't be too concerned at this point because most of the texts we've got on the Automasters text line would seem to suggest that they've just been moderate increases, probably increases in step with what we've been seeing in the days prior to 11:59 last night. But if you've seen something that looks a little abnormal this morning, let us know. 8223 0000. Text us on the Automasters text line. Back in March, the excise was halved, so from 44.2 cents to 22.1. That discount ended at 11:59 last night. Here is the Federal Treasurer, Jim Chalmers.
It would be too expensive to extend it indefinitely. Even to extend it for 6 months would cost the budget about $3 billion. We are under no illusions about the impact that this will have on family budgets. We can't afford to fund every bit of cost of living relief indefinitely that people would like us to.
Significant whack to the budget, isn't it? So it's a brand new state-of-the-art hospital every couple of months.
Oh, it's a vast amount of money. And, you know, there are a lot of people at the time who said that they questioned whether the cost of living benefits were, you know, going to be outweighed by the longer-term economic hit to the budget. Because, you know, at some point someone has to pay the bill for all of this stuff. So I think that, you know, when you're considering the backdraft of all of the COVID measures that we had in place, you know, I mean, $2 billion alone for Qantas. It's got to stop at some point, doesn't it?
Speaking of the Federal Treasury, started a very interesting conversation that I actually think we jumped into tentatively, but thinking it would be entirely hypothetical at the time, regarding who should appear on future $5 notes. Jim Chalmers says King Charles III is not necessarily the automatic choice. He's had preliminary talks with the Reserve Bank of Australia Governor Philip Lowe about the process, but makes the point, one, it's not guaranteed to be King Charles. Two, we've got some time, because even in the UK, their notes don't come in until 2024, the new ones with King Charles on them. So he wants to have a conversation about who it should be.
I really find myself struggling to get off the couch for this little chat. Like, I think the capacity for us to just talk about tokenistic nonsense in Australia at times is beyond belief. I would leave the Queen there.
Yeah.
It'd save money, and she should be recognised and remembered for the 7 decades plus of service that she provided. And, you know, this is where the Republican movement, and I say this as a Republican, but it drives me mad. I saw Peter Fitzsimons out there a couple of days ago saying that, you know, now the 2 weeks or whatever it is has passed, we can actually start having the conversation, and citing the $5 note as one of the first things that we should be looking at. Now, mate, like, firstly, we're not a republic, so we're going to try to sort of, by stealth, knock off all the remnants of our links to... Well, our links currently are constitutional. They're in the Constitution. You know, the British sovereign is our head of state. So, until such a time that we become a republic, maybe we just leave things as they are. Maybe we just keep abiding by those traditions because we haven't voted against them successfully yet.
I think you can mount a pretty compelling argument too that the Queen's. If you're stacking the Queen up 1 for 1 against other people in history, icons of significance to Australian history, she's going to take some beating anyway on her merits.
Yeah.
In terms of putting someone on the $5
I mean, who you
note.
put on there? Don Bradman, Steve Irwin, you know, Daryl Summers. Like, who's the person of magnitude that we've produced in Australia who knocks the Queen off a perch?
Let us know what you think, folks. 8223 Text us on the Automasters text. So maybe there's an idea out there that'll blow our minds.
Yeah, possibly.
Some emotional connection. We've got some very creative listeners out there. Let us know. 8223 Maybe it's the man who yesterday received an honorary doctorate, Jimmy Barnes.
People are going, oh, you know, can we change? I said, no. I'm going to Adelaide. I'm going to become a doctor. This is such an honour. Peter said to me, you know, when I was, you know, at 8 years old in Elizabeth West, you know, that you were going to be standing here in the gown and receiving this an honour like this, I would have laughed. And it's so special. Every day I get up and I think, how can I be a better person?
That's a new look, Jimmy Barnes.
I know. I might wear it on stage. What do you think?
So he received the honorary doctorate for his distinguished service to the community from the University of South Australia. Had the full get-up. If you've ever been to a graduation ceremony and you know people that have an undergraduate degree, it's sort of the black gown and a little sash or something, the square hat. But once you get to the PhD territory, you come out looking like you're something from Harry Potter. And that's what Jimmy Barnes looks like. So he's Dr. Barnes now.
Dr. Jimmy Barnes.
George Takei from Star Trek as well. Mr. Sulu has received an honorary doctorate as well. He's been an outspoken person on human rights and equality. That audio courtesy of 9 News last night, who caught up with Jimmy Barnes.
I was thinking earlier when we were talking to SAPOL about National Police Remembrance Day, and you think about the huge number of coppers who've lost their lives protecting the rest of us. Why do we have people in this country who regard Ned Kelly as a hero? Why is Ned Kelly seen as some sort of political activist or Robin Hood style figure when he was just a low grade cop killing,
killed cops?
Yeah, scumbag.
Because there is this ingrained.
I mean, Ben Cousins has got "such his life" tattooed on his stomach.
Breaker Morant, you could make an argument.
I mean, you certainly could.
But they both represent this anti-establishment. You know, we're Australia, the other side of the world. There's this stuffy European power that's telling us what's what, and we're not going to stand for it. I don't agree with that, but that's the kind of way the story's been told. Both of those stories have been told to young Australians, particularly for generations, that they represent Australian independence. But they're the wrong figures for it.
Yeah, totally.
Patricia in Glenelg's got an idea for the $5 note. Morning, Patricia.
Well, I don't know that it's such an idea. All that I was going to say was I never look at a $5 note. I mean, who cares, really?
Yeah, totally.
I was just thinking when I was walking along my local street yesterday and somebody asked me if I had any money to give them. And I said no, because I don't carry money and they'll have to get an FPOS machine or something if they're going to be begging. Who carries money now, and how significant is who is on the money, as I like to put it? And I don't see this. I mean, the Republican issue, I think we need to talk about, but not right now. But who's going on the money? I don't see it as big. Once upon a time, we all carried money. We might have looked at it. I never have a $5 note, and if I do, I don't look at it. So, it's a rare thing. So I think this is just a storm in a teacup, and there's enough stuff going on in the world at the moment and in Australia that I think that's the last thing we should be worried about.
Good on you, Patricia.
It's a great
Thanks for
call.
that.
Good point. Well made, Patricia. We've got a 5AA breakfast mug coming your way. Appreciate your call. 8223 0000 is our number.
Getting a number of texts about the issue as well. Rob says, is it time for the $5 note to go the way of the 1 and 2 cent piece? I was doing the shopping last night. $5 these days buys bugger all anyway. Another one here. If they can't decide who to put on a $5 note, imagine them choosing a president. Thanks for that, Stewie. Jenny in Somerton Park says, keep the Queen on the $5 note. Can't think of anyone worthy enough to replace her. And one here from one of our more lefty listeners, Spog in Windy Hill, says, I wonder if that's Windy Hill, Essendon. Do we have a Windy Hill in South Australia? Spog says, Eddie Marbo has done more than the Queen ever did for Australia. Put Eddie on the $5 note.
Keep the thoughts coming through. Automasters text line 044808 1395, or you can comment along on the Foodland Supermarkets live stream for Facebook and YouTube. Back with more in a moment, but first we'll just have a quick look at the traffic situation, how that's unfolding this morning. Before you head off on your road trip to do the fun stuff, let RAA take care of the car stuff.
Thanks, Will. At Waterloo Corner, still got that crash involving a truck on the Northern Connector. It's the Port Wakefield Road ramp, causing delays with speeds reduced outbound. Marston, restrictions after some urgent waterworks there. Marion Road near Watson Avenue, and at Chunga, various roads are closed around the town. That's due to those emergency dam works. Avoid the area if you can. Getting busy South Road as you're driving through Mile End, and keep your eyes out for camera today. Fitzroy Terrace at North Adelaide. The King's Spring Sale is on now. Up to 50% off selected Australian design award-winning furniture. Sale on now. Visit the King Keswick showroom today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Leon Biner.
Adelaide's Women's and Children's Hospital is getting a new location. Of course, there is a hefty price tag. It'll have 394 patient beds when it opens. But are we getting a bang for our buck? The Women's and Children's Alliance Associate Professor John Svigos.
9 till 12 weekdays.
With all things being considered, you're always compromising somewhat. And that's the difficulty that everybody's having here now.
SSA as Leon Biner. SSA as AA.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide tech guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
If you're looking to upgrade your laptop, choose the best new laptop of 2022, HP's Envy X360. For starters, it's a 2-for-1 device, which means it's a laptop with a flip screen to make it more like a tablet. It comes with 16 gig of RAM and a 512 gig solid-state drive. Basically, it's fast and reliable with great speeds for Zoom calls, web browsing and all the best online office software. The Envy is thin and light too. It has a micro-edge display giving you more screen space. Make your family jealous with the beautifully designed HP Envy, available now at Harvey Norman for only $1,999. Plus, you'll score a bonus $200 Harvey Norman gift card.
Check out this great offer at 5AA.com.au. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
The NBN network is made for more streaming, game downloads, online business, working from home, and more. Learn more at nbn.com.au/morespeed. Experience may vary depending on factors such as NBN technology, internet provider, plan and equipment.
G'day, it's Mark Bickley. Schools, councils and businesses all over South Australia choose Leader Computers for very important reasons. Leader is local and exceptional value. No matter what happens, Leader can be on site to fix your problem. No overseas or interstate call centres to deal with. Plus, Leader Computers is a 100% owned and operated South Australian company, offering fast same-day delivery and setup. That's why so many organisations rely on Leader. Google Leader Computers to find your closest Leader reseller.
Hey, you in the car. If your next service is due, just remember that Mawson Lakes Mazda has your back. We'll take care of you with next day servicing, complimentary loan car, vacuum and wash, and your breakfast or lunch is on us. Your car gets the love too, with our state-of-the-art service centre brimming with top-trained mechanics. At Mawson Lakes Mazda, we'll look after your car and look after you. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
9 after 7. Fascinating debate playing out in the Automasters text line this morning with regard to the future of the $5 note. There's 3 distinct camps, I think. keep the Queen, put someone else of note on it, or who uses cash. They seem to be the three sort of tranches coming through.
Yeah, yeah. There's a really good one here about which I didn't know. Apparently Ned Kelly's last words weren't "such his life." His last words were, well, I suppose." That's not a very...
less profound, isn't it?
Yeah, not very enigmatic. Famous last words. It's not a last word, it's a headstone. I do like the Spike Milligan one.
It's the most famous
I
one.
told you I was sick.
Mm.
See, I told you I was sick.
There's a terrific sounding show coming to Her Majesty's Theatre that's on this Friday night, 30th September at 7 p.m. Sister Elizabeth. It's the brainchild of our next guest, the beloved Adelaide cabaret performer, Libby O'Donovan. Libby, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Now, Libby, I was just reading some of the background about this excellent show, and when you think about it, there's actually like a pretty rich history of musical nuns kicking around, isn't there?
There really is. I was surprised as well when I was researching for the show. I mean, we all think of Maria, of course, Julie Andrews from The Sound of Music. But then there's other great ones like Debbie Reynolds in The Singing Nun, and of course there's the two Sister Act movies. I think they're hoping to bring out a third one of that, but there's just so much great music even in just those three that, so rich. And they form sort of some of our movie watching history through our lives. Something like The Sound of Music just gets brought out over and over again throughout, for decades and decades. People just absolutely love the music and the storyline as well.
You got a favourite fictional nun?
A favourite fictional nun? Honestly, I have watched so many films and television shows featuring nuns. I really love Sally Field in The Flying Nun. I think just because I really love Sally Field, she's such a great character and she's such a good actor and just, a really lovely vibe that she has. But there's so many different types of nuns in the films that I've watched. It's hard to just pick one, I suppose.
Well, I guess like not just nuns from popular culture and made up characters, but Adelaide, and you've obviously got the Adelaide pedigree. But our very own sister Janet Mead's probably the most famous singing nun of all time.
I know, you're so right. And, with the number one worldwide rock and roll smash hit of the Lord's Prayer. And there was also, of course, Mary McKillop, who's also South Australian and who, did a lot of work in the rural areas like Penola and then throughout Australia, really advocating for free education for kids all through her life. And that was obviously many years ago. But both of those nuns are from South Australia, which is pretty amazing, really, when you think of it. But, Sister Janet Mead is just such a beautiful example of what I guess we think of when we think of a nun, because she really dedicated her life to so much work within the charity sector of, devoting her time and her life and her resources to providing for those and caring for those who are less fortunate.
So the fascination with nuns, Libby, is that some sort of repressed Catholic school upbringing?
It's from a joyous Anglican upbringing, actually.
Okay.
I grew up in the church, so I really did have quite a lot to do with nuns. We, as a family, we used to go on school holidays and things like that and visit nuns in convents. We had a lot of nuns visiting us because both of my parents were priests.
Oh,
so
wow.
it was just part of the fabric of our family friend community. And all the nuns that I met as a kid and hung out with and, knocked about with on school holidays and things like that, they were all so lovely. So I had this great introduction to what a nun is, and I definitely wanted to be a nun when I was little because I couldn't think of anything better than getting about in a comfortable frock and singing harmonies and growing veggies all day. I thought it sounded amazing.
Hey, Libby, just before we let you go, can I ask you, so your backing band or choir, whatever the best way to describe them is, they're called the Yankalilla Miracles. Do they have a link with Yankalilla, or is that a sort of comical reference to was it the Blessed Virgin or Jesus himself who appeared on the wall of a church down there in Yankalilla some years ago?
That's right. It is a comical reference, but I was thinking, what can the band be called? when I bring them together, because we're going to be playing all of this holy music from some of these films, like Sister Act and things like that. There's definitely that element there, and I thought it would be really fun to tie in a South Australian name, because, like you said, there's Sister Janet Mead and there's Mary MacKillop, and then there is the appearance of the Virgin Mary or Jesus on the church of the Yankalilla Catholic Church.
Yeah.
So I thought, the Yankalilla Miracles has a beautiful ring to it.
It's a great name for a band. That's terrific.
It's going to be a terrific show. One night only, so make sure if it's piqued your interest, you get along. Get tickets at AdelaideFestivalCentre.com.au, and you'll find tickets to Libby O'Donovan's Sister Elizabeth there Friday, 30th September at Her Maj. Libby O'Donovan, thank you for joining us on 5AA Breakfast. It's 25 minutes after 7. We'll turn our attention to sport. Something else that's coming up this weekend is the first AFLW showdown. This is a terrific chat they had on the sports show, Rowie and Timmy G. North Point are overstocked with late model used cars ready for immediate delivery. It is the North Point way. They spoke with Justine Mills, who, of course, former Crow, current Power player.
Oh, look, I can't believe the showdown round is already here. Everything, all emotions, excitement, a little bit of anxiety, but just absolutely pumped we get to take on the LA Football Club and for the first AFLW showdown.
You're a three-time Crow Premiership player, Justine. It's not just any club, it's your old club. Do you have mixed feelings?
To be honest, I'm very, very excited to see the old Crew course. Obviously, love the club, love the staff, love the girls, but yeah, excited to take them on, and can't wait to get that little bit of white line fever happening.
Tom Wren mentioned to us a little bit earlier, some 17,000 tickets have already been sold. You'd imagine there'd be a number of walk-ups. The weather is going to be spectacular. It couldn't be better. There'll be a lot of people scratching around for something to do, needing the footy itch scratched as well. And being there for the first showdown, it's a historic occasion. I think they'll probably get, 25?
Hope so. You'd hope so. And, I mean, the culture of it too, even though on paper you'd say the Crows should flog them, who knows? Maybe it's going to be exactly like the men's game, where the very first game, Port came in and beat the Crows.
The showdown will be called here on 5AA. You'll be able to hear all the action with Jenny Williams and Sam Tugwell after 7 o'clock, which is going to be just terrific. Peter in Woodville has called in. Morning, Peter.
Morning. I've got a funny nun story. I used to go to a convent school in the early 60s, and my nun's name was Sister Marie, and I had a sister at the school called Marie. The nun, the Mother Superior, was looking after the class this day, and she said to me, "Go and get me your Sister Marie." So I walked down to the convent, about a 200-metre walk, knocked on the door, and said, "Mother wants to see you." She looked at me as if to say, "Doesn't she know I'm not well today?" She walked all the way up the hill. We went into the classroom, and the mother said, "Not Sister Marie, your Sister Marie." So she had to walk all the way back to the convent. I'd love to have been a fly on the wall that night.
Good on you, Peter. Thank you. Hey, we've got tickets to give away to Sister Elizabeth, the show on Friday night. And if you'd like them, double pass. First caller through right now can have them. 8223 0055. There'll be more on the sports show tonight ahead of the showdown on the weekend too, thanks to North Point, who are overstocked with late model used cars ready for immediate delivery. It is the North Point way.
An average of 83 people die on Australian rail lines every year. Ask yourself, do I pay attention when I cross rail lines? The answer might surprise you. Stand back, look up, stay rail safe. A message from the Government of South Australia.
Wednesday is a special day at Wallace Cinemas. Wednesday is Seniors Day. That means free morning tea or coffee before you see a movie. It's your choice of movies from Bobby's Classics. It's new release movies. It's the big screen and stunning Quake sound. It's homemade choc tops with Golden North ice cream, fruit chocks and freshly popped popcorn. It's Wednesday. It's Seniors Day and it's a great day out at Wallace Cinemas. Visit wallace.com.au or download the app for session times.
Now, if you love greyhound racing, come watch the stars light up at the Tab Adelaide Cup next Friday. That's October 7 at Angle Park. Enjoy Group 1 greyhound racing with live music, food trucks, tab and bar facilities trackside with free general admission and free kids entertainment. Then later in the month, you can also catch the Gawler Gold Cup. That's on Sunday the 23rd of October. It's greyhound racing at its best, again with free general admission, plenty more of entertainment and free kids entertainment. So to book one of their fantastic hospitality packages and to find out more, visit greyhoundracingsa.com.au. Get down to the Tab Adelaide Cup, Friday, October 7 from 5 p.m, and the Gawler Gold Cup, Sunday, October 23 from 4:30. And don't forget, drink responsibly and gamble responsibly.
Will retirement living suit you? You're invited to FIVEAA's Spring Open Day events to get a sneak peek of the lifestyle you could look forward to. Enjoy free refreshments and activities, explore our communities, inspect our display homes and chat with our friendly team. There's even a chance to win $10,000 when you RSVP. With 3 events across Adelaide on October 15, take the first step and search FIVEAA Open Day today. RSVP is essential and COVID-safe practices apply. See website for T's and C's. Licence number T22/1434.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 18 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Hydrotherapy at Physio Extra Marion has individual sessions and classes claimable on private health and NDIS.
A man has been charged after a police chase from Noarlunga Centre to Huntfield Heights. It started just before 1 this morning when a Toyota was spotted speeding. Senior Constable Peter Williams says it came to an end in a dead-end street.
The driver and sole occupant of the vehicle was arrested without incident. A 36-year-old man from Christie Downs was charged with driving dangerously to escape pursuit and driving disqualified. He was bailed to attend at the Christie's Beach Magistrates Court on the 27th of October.
There will be extended hours at selected Service SA branches today. Marion, Prospect and Elizabeth will remain open till 7 p.m, so Optus customers can get a new driver's licence. The outlets were inundated yesterday in the wake of the breach. The full fuel excise returned at midnight. Petrol stations will now have to pay another 22 cents a litre tax on their fuel. Prices have already increased in some areas, but cheaper fuel should be available for the next few days. Many service stations still have stock bought at the lower tax level. South Australians are continuing to splurge at record levels. Michaela Kamarik reports.
Interest rate rises and growing inflation have so far failed to dent consumer confidence. Latest data released by the Australian Bureau of Statistics shows South Australians spent more than $2.2 billion in August. An additional $28.5 million was spent on retail, an increase of 1.3%. Nationally, almost $35 billion was spent last month, a rise of 0.6%. The result was driven by an increased spending in department stores on household goods and food, including takeaway, restaurants and cafes. Queensland and WA were the only jurisdictions to record a fall, while the Northern Territory was unchanged.
A new aged care and disability advocacy group is set to be established in Australia. Care Watch Australia will tackle the long-term issues impacting vulnerable groups. Founder Stuart Johnston, whose mother experienced abuse at the Oakton nursing home, says the organisation will give people the opportunity to get independent advice.
So I've put together a really good team of advisors and helpers and pro bono and people. So Care Watch Australia group will launch, and we're going to look into Care Watch advocacy, Care Watch disability, Care Watch NDIS.
After intensifying over the Gulf of Mexico, Hurricane Ian has made landfall in Florida, causing catastrophic winds and rising floodwaters. Alison Petrowski is in Tampa.
Recording sustained wind speeds of 250 kilometres an hour, Ian is unleashing extreme conditions on Florida's west coast. 2 metres of storm surge tearing through Fort Myers, lifting houses from their foundations and sending cars floating down the street. 1 million residents are currently without power. Tornado warnings are in place throughout the south of Florida, with the storm expected to move inland towards Orlando in the coming hours.
The US Embassy in Moscow is warning American citizens to leave immediately to avoid being conscripted into Vladimir Putin's mobilised army. The embassy is also warning leaving Russia has become increasingly difficult, with flights full and borders being closed to stop an exodus of military-age men. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
New Mitsubishi Triton with 10-year warranty, 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
And with everything footy, it's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Yes, let's start there. Port Adelaide is living true to its ambition of being aggressive ahead of this year's trade period. With Richmond's Jack Graham touring the club's facilities yesterday, he met with power coach Ken Hinkley, with the club keen to add to its midfield depth. Well, Western Bulldogs coach Luke Beveridge insists Brisbane will have to pony up for Josh Dunkley after he won the Dogs' best and fairest last night. Dunkley, who polled the most votes ahead of Tom Liberatore and Aaron Norton, has requested a trade to the Lions. Beveridge thanked Dunkley for turning up to the awards night despite his departure, but insists list boss Sam Power won't let him go cheaply.
I'm really grateful, I think we all are, that he's been mature and respects his time at our football club, that he's here to really see it through. And the obvious thing is that the Lions are going to have to pony up. So Sammy's going to go to work on that.
To cricket, South Australia has been beaten by 8 wickets in their Marsh One Day Cup clash against Tasmania overnight in Brisbane. The Redbacks were dismissed for only 220, the Tigers chasing down the target in only the 33rd over thanks to a brilliant unbeaten century from Caleb Jewell. Australian tennis star Nick Kyrgios is reportedly considering a potential ownership stake in an NBL team. The Herald Sun is reporting Kyrgios has had ownership discussions with the South East Melbourne Phoenix. And Cronulla Sharks halfback Nico Hines has won the Dally M medal. Hines polled the highest number of votes in the history of the NRL's Best Player Award. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Waterloo Corner, look out for a crash involving a truck on the Northern Connector. It's in the Port Wakefield Road ramp, speeds reduced outbound. At Marston, restrictions after some urgent waterworks there. Marion Road near Watson Avenue, speeds at 40. And around Echunga, various roads are closed around the town for emergency dam works. Avoid that if you can. Busy at the moment, South Road at Mile End with cameras, the Esplanade Moana and Harris Road at Vale Park. Shop local at Adelaide Central Market, open Tuesday to Saturday with 70 traders under one roof and easy undercover parking. Our markets always Adelaide Central Market. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
For Zip Track, folding our mornings, automatic sun blinds and outdoor blinds. Choose Peter Jackson Blinds and Awnings.
A partly cloudy Thursday on the way, 18. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 19. Saturday mostly sunny, 21. Right now it's 12 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
"24 minutes to 8, John Blake coming up before 8 o'clock this morning. Also, Smeg Hour, not too far away. We have a toaster to give away this morning, which means we're toasting people. If you've got someone you'd like to give a shout-out radio-wise, your hour is coming up.
And we mean toast in a positive way.
Exactly right.
Not like one of those American sort of celebrity roasts where you just tell
toast, not roast.
Yeah, rude stories about people for 2 hours.
No, we don't want to do that. Just shout out someone and you can win yourself that magnificent Smeg toaster in the process.
Out of 10, every time.
Your local Mitre 10, friendly service, expert advice, quality brands at great prices. That's mighty helpful, Mitre 10. If there were a people for the heritage listing of boat ramps, it would be headed up by our next guest, Matt Abraham. Morning to you, Matt.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, David.
So, Matt, not for the first time, the construction of a large, vastly expensive, brand new hospital, one of the toughest gigs to pull off in state politics. Do you think Peter Malinauskas can do it?
Well, I mean, it's not his money. For starters.
No.
It's not his money. It is interesting to watch this debate because consistently health comes up as the big priority for not just Australians but obviously South Australians in any polling. And if things aren't going well for you, and we saw this with RAN, and then we saw it with the RAN government, and then we saw it with, have seen it now with this continued problem with ramping. So that's a big negative. So it's hard not to see a new hospital as a positive, even if it's going to cost you $3 to $3.2 billion. And that's where we're at with it.
What do you make about the political gamble that Labor have bitten off with regard to saying we can win an argument of... It's tough to win an argument against the heritage lobby when it comes to building apartments or some commercial development, but they've said we can win it because we're advocating for the build of a new hospital.
Well, this is how I find this eye-popping, actually, this in terms of spin, but because I don't have the audio, I'm not including it in the mighty Mitre 10 out of 10, but it would have been a contender. This is what Peter Malinauskas, this is how he's framing this debate. And I think it's disingenuous, but this is how he's framing this debate. He says, we need legislation through Parliament to speed this through. Okay. Now, that's going to be interesting, given the Greens and the Liberals will probably oppose it. So it's going to be interesting to watch that. SA Best support it, but they support everything. But anyway, he said, there's going to be a clear choice here for everybody in the Parliament to make. Do you choose political expediency, or do you choose the long-term interest of the health system, particularly women and children?
It's quite a dichotomous sort of way of structuring the argument, which is so you're either on the side of heritage or the parklands, or you're on the side of
little kiddies.
It comes down to this: you either agree with me or you don't like sick children.
That's it. Do you want to leave now?
Although, in his defence, the reality is it's not the government's decision to put it there. It's all of the clinicians have said, and I thought spin-wise. Did you see that press release yesterday, collating all of the positive quotes from all of the different lobby groups about it? The truth is, the medicos have said, in the interests of children and everyone else who's ill, this is the site that ticks the co-location box and the future growth box for both the children and the grown-ups hospitals.
Yeah. We actually haven't seen the details. I haven't released the details of the report. I think you round up clinicians... You know, you can round up clinicians to support your argument. You can round up clinicians to not support your argument. They round up clinicians to support the argument. I'm not saying those clinicians don't hold those views truly and honestly and happily. But the previous government, I don't remember clinicians necessarily complaining about the Marshall Liberal government's plan to put the Women's and Children's Hospital where it was going to be, and that is in between the cheese grater building and the new Royal Adelaide Hospital. Land, which wouldn't have involved knocking down any heritage buildings at all.
How emotionally attached are you to the barracks, Matt? How often do you go there? What's your favourite?
I love
of the 10 buildings, which one's your favourite?
I love the barracks. Well, they're part of they're part of South Australia's history. They are.
You reckon?
I love the greys, the police greys grazing under the olive trees. It's beautiful.
You touched on a moment ago.
You cynic. Yeah, you'll be driving the bulldozer. You'll be running over Keith Conlon.
There's an image about radio generations, isn't it? So
I should say Keith Conlon is in charge of the independent body that's meant to be protecting our heritage.
Yes.
And he says he's going to stand in front of the bulldozers.
We talk about the political gamble the government is bitten off.
Yes.
And you touched a moment on what will be the political quandary that the Libs are faced by. David Spears came on with us yesterday and was hedging largely on, are you going to support legislation that allow this? We need to look at it. It's been foisted upon us and so on and so forth. Can they afford to be in a position where that headline, as misleading as you say it might well be, so the party that brought us the ramping crisis is now opposing a women's and children's hospital. Can he afford that kind of debate publicly?
Well, you could frame it another way. If you're the opposition leader, you could say, is the party that brought us Transforming Health, that ran down Modbury Hospital and shut the repat, going to tell us about excellence in health?
Yeah. Yeah,
I mean that's one way of doing it. And Peter Malinauskas
spent billions and extra months and months.
They sort of tried that in the election, though, didn't they?
Yeah,
yeah, that's correct. They did.
Yeah. I know that, but maybe they should try harder.
Well, they're different people trying, I suppose.
That was Stephen Marshall. I actually find it's interesting. There's an Australia Institute poll out now. That Australia Institute's not a far-right institute, but their polling's not bad. And we don't get a lot of polling in South Australia in between Tizer polls and news polls, which are quite a way apart. So the Australia Institute polling, and it's not bad, tends to sync with what news poll finds. It's not too far off. It's obviously Peter Malinauskas has missed a 73%. It's his net approval rating, so he's going very well. But David Spears' approval rating has increased to 32%.
Hasn't even been here for the last month.
There you go. There's a lesson in that. Up from then Premier Stephen Marshall's approval rating of 11%, 11 in February, and the 23% recorded for then opposition leader Peter Malinauskas earlier in the year. So 32 is not bad for an opposition leader, and the Liberal primary vote is level pegging with the Labor primary vote on 34%. Their problem is the Greens are on 13, so that tends to pump the numbers up. But
Peter Dutton would kill for numbers like that.
Well, exactly. They're not running badly, the opposition. And I always find it a bit disturbing when there's David Spears there and then there's Ashton Hearn standing right behind him, because I think to myself, if I was a politician, I might run over David Spears, but I'd probably bang. Don't know if it'd be that easy to run over Ashton Hearn, who's the opposition health spokesperson person and is, well, I think extremely effective in that role. Very effective.
It feels like they've finally got an attack piece. The Libs they've been missing for a while.
Yeah.
And I think she's straightened them up in a footy sense. Yeah. They feel like they've got.
They feel like befits her family background.
Yeah, that's true, isn't it? Yeah, that's totally accidental. Yeah. They've finally got a bit of edge to them under David Spears with Ashton Hearn. I think is the best realisation of that.
Well, I think the thing is, and it comes through on the text line, is there's a lot of public cynicism about the cuteness of the sort of Ashley Ambo and the entire Labor movement rallying around the great disaster that was the Marshall government when it came to ramping. Now, undeniably, Marshall and the parsimonious Rob Lucas couldn't have stuffed it up anymore if they tried. They just sat in their hands while ramping got worse and worse and worse. Except, since Labor got in, it's got even worse.
It has.
And this is what a lot of people are picking up on now and going, well, okay, smart guy, you said you're going to fix this. And it's like, well, this is where he gets into you hear the clutch slipping. It was like, well, I said I was going to fix it and I was going to do everything to try to fix it and I'd fix it at some point. But it's not an overnight thing.
Well, we made it clear. This is what the health minister said here on this radio station. We made it clear that this was going to take years. I think no, you didn't. I'm afraid no. You might have said that somewhere, but you didn't make it painfully clear at the election that we're going to fix ramping, but it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. It's going to take years to get better.
It's a bit like being an Optus customer. When you voted Labor, you had to go down the fine print and read the terms and conditions.
Exactly.
Oh, hang on. Oh, okay.
But So this comes back to the point I made right at the start, and that is that building a new hospital and swinging a debate towards that. And we knew the Women's and Children's Hospital, both parties proposed a new one. That was their policies. But for a government to be able to then now talk this up continually, that is it gives it a good news side of the downside of its health debate. One question I think needs to be asked is I think David Spears this morning described the existing Women's and Children's Hospital as ageing and decrepit. And I think the question that needs to be asked is there anything wrong with existing clinical care for children and women at the Women's and Children's Hospital?
I think people who work there would say yes.
Well, everyone wants a shiny new building, but is there... They've got a fantastic reputation for clinical care of children. Is there any suggestion that that's not continuing? That's not existing at the moment and not continuing?
I've spent a lot of time in that hospital having young kids over the last 5 to 7 years, and it feels like the quality of the care all comes about purely because of the staff.
But it always does, David.
The building. I mean, there was one. I reckon it was when Sam was being born. You couldn't. One of the lifts was completely shut. Like you're running up and down stairs while your wife was in labour. And it felt like a bomb site. Like it was a total dump of a place.
Well, it's been a long time. It's been a long time since I've been there.
Throw it over to the staff, because the staff constantly tell us that all the miracles that they achieve there are done despite, not because of any assistance the building provides.
I would think for $3.2 billion, you could probably fix a lot of those things. I would think for $1 billion you could fix it.
You love the police barracks, though.
I would think. I do love the police barracks and the migration museum and all that sort of stuff.
All those things that remind me of being on boring school excursions.
Let's rate some spin.
9 to 10, out of 10, every time.
Before you two guys come to blows.
It's all right. I'm also pretty excited about the plan for Disneyland down south as well.
No, I'm not excited about that. That is the silliest thing I've ever heard.
This is in February. This is the Deputy Premier now, Susan Close, who's in a Zoom meeting with all the Heritage Lobby. And the name of the Zoom meeting, it's a forum that she's speaking at as a potential minister. It is Protecting Our Built Heritage, and this is what she told them all.
Labor has absolutely no intention of knocking over any state heritage place.
Ooh.
Okay.
Whoopsie-daisy.
Now, I'm giving her 1 point for every building they're knocking down in that police barracks. So I'm giving her 10 out of 10.
Perfect score for the imperfect spin, I think, Matt. Superb. Great to have you in.
That is good audio.
Matt Abraham, thanks to your local Mitre 10 friendly service expert advice, quality brands at great prices. That's mighty helpful, Mitre 10. Let's check traffic before you head off on your road trip to do the fun stuff. Let RAA take care of the car stuff.
Thanks, Will. At Waterloo Corner, there's a crash involving a truck on the Northern Connector. It's near the Port Wakefield Road ramp, speeds reduced outbound. Marston, restrictions after some urgent waterworks there. Marion Road near Watson Avenue, speeds at 40. At Echunga, various roads are closed around Echunga for emergency dam works. Busy at the moment, South Road as you're driving through Mile End, and we've got a camera at Harris Road, Vale Park, and another one at Peters Creek Road at Kaipo. From restaurants to auto mechanics and businesses in between, stop paying FPOS fees. No terminal rental, no merchant fees. Visit smartpay.com.au. Minimum turnover and T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Great food lives in Foodland. The mighty South Aussies, yeah.
Be it a tree change, a sea change, upsize, downsize, or finding that investment gem. First National Real Estate. We put you first. firstnational.com.au.
Need a forklift? Don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. Toyota is the world's #1 forklift brand with a great range of pallet jacks, walkie stackers and reach forklifts right up to their leading Toyota counterbalance forklifts. Legendary reliability and safety with cleaner, greener electric options, Toyota can tailor the right forklift solution for you. It's all part of the Toyota forklift advantage. For more, visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get a Toyota forklift.
Now, you all know that I love my local Mitre 10, or as those in the know like to call it, the other hardware store. It's my one-stop shop for all my DIY jobs, whether it's something indoors that needs fixing or out in the garden. They'll have everything you need, and the staff are great. They'll happily give you advice on the best products to help you get all of those jobs done.
So if you're planning some home improvements or have some fix-it jobs to do, or just want to spruce things up a bit around the home or in the garden, head into your local mighty helpful Mitre 10.
So for great prices on the right products for the job, along with helpful advice, choose the other hardware store, mighty helpful Mitre 10.
Do you hear that? It's back. The sound of rivalries ready to be unleashed. The sound of thousands of fans ready to rock. The sound of the most epic entertainment ever. The sound of the streets calling. It's the sound of the Velo Adelaide 500. Returning December 1st to 4th. Visit adelaide500.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
8 to 8, John Blake coming up in just a moment. We've also got Smeg appliance to give away. It's Fire Truck Red. I bet it goes faster. That's coming up in a moment, but first... I'm nervous now. Luce, you better have some good news for us from the National Basketball Championships.
I have a bit of good news, yes. The SA Derby.
Me no likey.
The SA Derby at the under-14s Girls National Basketball game yesterday. Nord Flames versus Eastern Mavericks. Go the Nord Flames. They won the derby 61-46.
Good stuff.
Jeez.
Which
They're
means...
really putting everyone away, aren't they? They haven't had a close one yet.
Don't talk too soon.
Luce's face. Oh.
So the Nord Flames ended that pool yesterday morning in top spot. Then they played the quarterfinal yesterday evening against the Mackay Meteorites from Queensland.
Okay, the Meteorites.
Pineapple farmers up there.
Sure. There was an awesome atmosphere in the stadium with the Norwood cheer squad absolutely roaring in the stands. It was a tough game that was then interrupted by a massive storm where play was interrupted due to hail on the court.
Okay. What was the state of play?
What do you mean?
Where were we at? Were we winning?
I don't have that info.
Okay.
The game was then called off with a minute to go.
It was called...
Wow.
So it's literally taken an act of God to beat the Nord Flames. That's my interpretation of that.
And therefore, they didn't get the win. They lost 55-30 against the Mackay Meteorites.
Okay, that's what they're behind.
They had a bit of work to do in that last minute.
Yeah.
So hang on.
Oh, sorry. When you said state of play, I just didn't read the next sentence.
Yeah.
So,
yes.
is there a Duckworth-Lewis system for basketball? do they work out?
Yeah,
come back.
They needed to make 5 22-pointers.
Yeah, that's right.
That's a shame. Okay, so where does that leave things?
So the Flames are 5 wins and 1 loss at the national champs. They now go into the playoffs for. Marina's written 5 to 8 spot in the tournament.
Play for 5th to 8th. You lose one game, you got to play for 5th to 8th.
I believe so. They have 2 games today, so they need to finish with 2 big wins to finish.
That feels
in 5th.
rough. An act of God. Who's playing for these Mackay meteorites, by the way?
Zeus, Poseidon.
Yeah, what's happening? This is the side that Lauren Jackson used to make her comeback,
That's right.
is it?
All of Lauren Jackson.
I want to at least we need to test the credentials of this lot. Hey, our girls have been superb. What a great run they've had, representing South Australia, beating some of the biggest teams in the country. Congratulations to them all for what they've done so far. They're absolute legends and a lovely group of people to boot.
Yes, 2 games today.
Bring it home strong, girls.
Yep. Count the Flames.
It'd be nice if the big man upstairs could prevent some sort of hail damage to the stadium so they could continue their winning ways.
They should just cancel the game and replay it.
I think so.
Even though they were 20 points behind.
That would have been fitting. This is a real insight to how we deal with sporting issues too. The moment there's any misfortune, it's clearly someone else's fault.
Yeah. Speaking about sport, you know one of the most annoying things of the last week is I found myself liking Joel Selwood.
Yeah.
Have you had that problem?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
He actually seems like a terrific human being.
He seems like a really good person.
I think you can still be a dislikable footballer.
Time for a toast with Smeg.
Time for a toast. It is Smeg Thursday. Building or renovating your first choice, we'll be visiting the Smeg showroom at Debney Distributors. Taste the difference with Smeg. That is a sharp-looking toaster.
That is a sexy toaster. It's a beautiful red colour, cherry red. Smeg. And again, I always comment on the Smeg design. You've got the on button. And you got the off button. Oh, no, there's a defrost button as well. But yeah, it goes all the way up to 6.
Yeah, 6 is your maximum.
Should go up to 11. 11.
It's in
When
units
you
of
want the
toasting.
toast to just go one higher, where can you take the toast? Nowhere.
No, that's right. If you'd like to win the toaster,
6.
you'll have to toast someone. So 8223 0000. Get calling now for the next hour. Someone who gives someone a shout out and toast someone. Could be for anything. You could toast Marina for being a terrific team manager at the Nord Flames.
Yes.
You could toast absolutely anyone you like. 8223 0000. You're in the running to win that exceptional piece of appliance, the red Smeg toaster.
Could toast the SES if you're an Achunga resident for making sure that 10,000 gigalitres of water don't come racing through your front room.
Exactly right. You can toast whomever you like for whatever reason you like, and you'll be in the running to win. Let's give it over to John Blake for a moment before 5AA News. Thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
And now, Chair of the South Australian Heritage Council, Mr. Keith Conlon, OAM, with another tip for real happiness.
If you want to be happy for the rest of your life, here is Keith Conlon with some advice. After he's spoken, you can be sure he might want to take you on a walking tour.
Yeah, g'day, Keith Conlon with another tip for real happiness. If you want to be really happy, get into the proud history of South Australia by joining me on a walking history of the old Theberton Police Barracks. Built in 1917, it was heritage listed some time ago so we could preserve it until we needed to turn it into a giant hospital. Of course, this would mean pulling it all down, which I think is a slight misinterpretation of the heritage listing system. I'm planning to do the walking tour as they begin construction on the big new hospital, and you can join me as I stand in front of bulldozers. You and I can show our dedication to the heritage system and risk certain death because we care. If we're killed in a horrible demolition incident, we can then become fellow ghosts to the ones just up the road at the old Adelaide jail, and I'm not sure that'll sit very well with patients at the new hospital, particularly the kids trying to get to sleep with us roaming the wards and going, ooh. Anyway, I hope to see you there, and I'll bring some chains so we can chain ourselves to the bulldozers, and then when we become ghosts, we can use the chains to do ghostly noises. We may end up with no historic police barracks, but at least we know they still don't have Fritz in Sydney.
If you want to be happy for the rest of your life, that was Keith Conlon with some advice. Mr. South Australia, and we insist we really should put him on the heritage list.
Minute to 8, more from John Blake coming up after 8:30 when we go behind closed doors.
We've all been there. In the beginning, it's a rush. You're in love. but you've fallen out of love. Take your car to Edwardstown Mazda to see what it's really worth. Why risk selling your car privately when Edwardstown Mazda can give you a fair price on the spot? Do you still love your car? Why not upgrade to a new or pre-owned Mazda at Edwardstown Mazda, A62 South Road. Edwardstown Mazda, LMBD 207 428.
Get a read on fuel hikes, rate spikes and red carpet delights. Get a read on today with The Advertiser and enjoy full digital access for only $1 a week for the first 12 weeks. Minimum cost $4. Search The Advertiser offer today. Conditions apply.
Nobody knows paint like Crowe's, a South Aussie company with stores all over SA. Crowe's have established themselves as the go-to people for all things paint, wallpaper, stains and special finishes, including all the accessories you'll need and, of course, expert advice and tips.
They've got a cracking reputation, Crowe's, and they deserve it because they've been around for years and they're the best in the business. Right now, Crowe's at Campbelltown, Gawler and Barossa, this is a huge saving. They've taken a whopping 30% off all paint, and that includes their timber protection range. Heading into summer, you've got to protect your timber. That's 30% off. Even if you're not sure of your colour selections right now, buy your paint at 30% off and take it back later to get it tinted to your chosen colour at no extra cost.
And remember, Crowe's only sell premium quality paint, so you're getting 30% off top grade paint. They're open all this long weekend, so call into Crowe's at Campbelltown, Gawler and Barossa for 30% off all paint and their timber protection range. Offer ends October 9th and excludes specialty paints and industrial, not valid with any other offer.
One of the most special sounds in existence. 140 million monarch butterflies reaching their wintering grounds. Unaware they'll never live to see another stylish wicker egg chair for only $199. Weather resistant with a steel frame and comfy pillows. It's special. You can buy at Aldi's Special Buys Outdoor Sale this Saturday. Flutter over to aldi.com.au for product availability in your state. Aldi. Good. Different.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 18 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Woken with a stiff neck or sore back? Get a Physio Extra appointment today. 6 locations. physioextra.com.
3 Service SA centres will be open later tonight to help process new driver's licences for people caught up in the Optus hack. Marion, Prospect and Elizabeth will stay open until 7 p.m. More than 1,000 people rushed to renew their licences yesterday, but Transport Minister Tom Koutsantonis is concerned others may not understand the urgency.
We're still trying to get the message out to people that they can get their driver's licence changed for free, and we're still trying to get the message out to people that if you're an Optus customer, you should change your driver's licence. I am very, very concerned that a lot of people aren't hearing this message because the impacts of having your data stolen using your driver's licence could last you a lifetime.
And there could be a second class action against Optus in the wake of the cyber attack. Morris Blackburn Lawyers already has a case against the telco over a breach in 2019. A man's been arrested following a police chase south of the city. Patrols spotted a Toyota sedan speeding on Smith Avenue, Noarlunga Centre, just before 1 a.m. It failed to stop and was pursued to Huntfield Heights, where it ended up on a dead-end street. The 36-year-old behind the wheel has been charged with several offences, including driving disqualified. He's been bailed to front court next month. Ichunga residents may be able to return to their homes this morning. The SES has been able to lower the water level of that dam threatening to burst. The service's Penny Kavler says they remain cautious.
Road closures remain in place but are being assessed to ensure locals can return to their homes as soon as it is safe to do so. An emergency warning message remains in place.
13 SA wineries have been shortlisted for the Best of Wine Tourism Awards. They cover 6 regions from McLaren Vale to the Barossa and Clare Valley. Tourism Minister Zoe Bettison says the winners will be announced at the opening night of Cheese Fest next month.
And they go on to represent South Australia, the International Best of Wine Tourism Awards. That's going to be held in Argentina in late October.
Hurricane Ian has made landfall in Florida. More than 1 million people are without power and there are winds of nearly 250 k's an hour. The US President is offering federal assistance to Florida as the Category 4 lashes the state. Joe Biden says he's ready to help in any way possible.
We are on the alert and in action. We've approved every request Florida has made for temporary assistance, emergency assistance, long-term assistance that I've received.
There's been a shooting outside a school in Oakland, California. 6 adults have been injured, 3 are in a critical condition. And an emergency on the tarmac at Heathrow Airport. 2 commercial planes made contact while taxiing. Luckily, no one was on the Korean Air Jet and Iceland Air 767 that were hurt. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
10-year warranty and 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Let's start with footy. Richmond's Jack Graham could be on his way to Port Adelaide next season. The 24-year-old, who is contracted with the Tigers next year, has met with power coach Ken Hinckley. The midfielder arrived in town yesterday morning, saying he was here just to meet with family.
I'm originally from South Australia, so coming back, catch up with mum and dad.
But he later met with the club. He's a 2-time premiership player and could be headed to Alberton, with the Tigers keen on luring Tim Taranto and Jacob Hopper from GWS. To cricket, South Australia is now 1-1 after 2 games in the Marsh One Day Cup after being belted by Tasmania by 8 wickets. Chasing 221 to win, the Tigers did it easily thanks to a brilliant unbeaten 126 off only 97 balls from Caleb Jewell, who brought up his century in style.
That'll do it for Caleb Jewell. Brings up the ton in style, fittingly as well. Second fastest 100 for a Tasmanian.
Yeah, great nog. That audio thanks to Fox. Socceroos youngster Garang Kuol is reportedly nearing a deal with EPL club Newcastle. The Opals' 2006 World Cup winning team is being inducted into the Australian Basketball Hall of Fame. Meantime, the Opals will be in quarter-final action at the World Cup tonight against Belgium. And Denmark will wear plain-coloured jerseys at the upcoming Soccer World Cup in a protest gesture of Qatar's human rights record. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Waterloo Corner, residual delays from an earlier crash involving a truck on the Northern Connector. It's near the Port Wakefield ramp heading outbound. Marston, restrictions after some urgent waterworks there. Marion Road near Watson Avenue. While at Echunga, various roads are closed around the town for emergency dam works avoided if you can. And we've got cameras at the Esplanade Moana and Blacks Road at Gillis Plains. Freedom's unmissable homewares event ends soon with up to 30% off their entire range of rugs, mirrors and more. Hurry, these unmissable savings won't last. Ends Monday, only at Freedom. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
For Zip Track, folding arm awnings, automatic sun blinds and outdoor blinds, choose Peter Jackson Blinds and Awnings.
Heading for a top of 18 degrees today and partly cloudy tomorrow 19, Saturday mostly sunny 21, Sunday mostly sunny 22. Right now it's 13 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
7 after 8, breaking 8 in a moment. We're going to catch up with the SES, get an update on the Echunga situation for you, probably in about 15 minutes' time. All the news so far this morning has been good on that front. They're pumping water out and will continue to do so over the course of the day. Things are holding, so certainly significantly more positive than it was some 24 hours ago. And then after 8:30 today, we'll be talking all things fuel. The excise is back on in full. It was halved, of course, since March this year. Now it's back up over 44 cents a litre. The impact hasn't been instant. So when will it come? And will it come in a rush? Will it come in dribs and drabs? And where are we expecting petrol to end up a week from today? We'll find out. We've also got a little game of nearest to the pin to resolve yesterday. We had a host of listeners who called in trying to guess where what the cheapest fuel in Adelaide would be today at 8.55. So we'll resolve that over the course of this hour. In addition to giving away a terrific red Smeg toaster for people who you shout out someone, give them a toast live on the radio, put yourself in the running, like Julie in Blakeview is doing. Morning to you, Julie.
Yeah, good morning, boys. I'm sorry I can't shout too loud at the moment. I'd just like to try to give a shout out to the wonderful nursing staff at Gawler Hospital. I had my tonsils out when I was 5 years old, and unfortunately I had one that had regrown.
Really?
And I had
what?
Yeah,
I didn't know that could happen.
Yes, it's about 10%.
Wow.
Recurring. But, yeah, I had one that regrew, and I've had a lot of trouble over the years with my throat. And I had that removed on Tuesday morning and came home yesterday, and, yeah, the staff and the nursing staff and the doctors, my anaesthetist, everything, my surgeon, absolutely wonderful. It's a really great hospital, Gawler. So, yeah,
That's nice of you to do, Julie. How you feeling okay?
Well, let's put it this way, Will and Dave. I certainly couldn't be sitting in the cheer squad of Port Adelaide screaming out for them.
That's all right. It's the off season, so you protect that throat, Julie. And next year you'll be back cheering and screaming and going and doing silly things.
Great nomination.
I didn't know you could grow tonsils back.
Neither did I.
That feels like Julie's in a sort of more evolved state of human being.
Yeah.
That's sort of
like
superhuman
Terminator
powers.
2.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's right. Mary in Prospect, good morning.
Good morning to you, gentlemen. Yes, I would like to toast the SES workers and anyone.
Oh, we lost you, Mary.
Mary's just...
We got the gist of it.
That's all right. Mary's in the running. That counts.
That
he wants
counts.
to toast the SES workers, who we'll be chatting with shortly about the Achunga situation. Dave M., I like this one on the Automasters text line. I'd like to toast NASA for hitting an asteroid for that far away. It is stunning. The images that continue to come out about that are just absolutely remarkable. How about Scott? I like this. This is the first little bit of pre-showdown banter that's coming through. Scott says, I'd like to toast the AFLW Crows side for their win in the first ever showdown.
Oh, Scott, come on, don't tempt fate, mate.
Confidence level high, says Scott. He says, you may think I'd have little use for a toaster, but you'd be wrong. Low-carb bread, 2.5 grams of carb a slice. Scott, only seeing your name on the text and not knowing what the physique looks like, I wasn't aware that you have no use for a toaster, but good to hear that you can still enjoy bread. And that's where he gets his confidence from. He's clearly lean figure.
Yeah, strapping.
I would have thought. All right, let's go breaking at 8.
Well, this isn't so much breaking at 8, but it's breaking at 8 p.m, and I'm going to repeat it here for the benefit of those listeners who are in the morning routine of listening to us on the radio but don't always get to hear Matt Pan tell us at night. I'll tell you what, that's not many South Australians, given the extraordinary numbers that Matt did the other day. No one's rated as highly as he did in the evening time slot on 5AA for years. It was a terrific result. But Matt had a great interview with Stuart Johnson, who's a great friend of the show. We've caught up with Stuart many times, came along to one of our Best of SA dinners a couple of years ago. And Matt actually, Stuart, as you would recall, is one of the Oakden whistleblowers. He did a huge amount of work bringing the shameful treatment of older folks, including his own mum at that facility, to public attention. Was instrumental in getting the National Royal Commission into the quality of aged care up. Well, Matt had him on his show to talk to Stuart about an article the Tiser ran yesterday about the quality of food in nursing homes. But during the interview, Stuart let the cat out of the bag that in about 3 weeks' time, and this continues on from some of the work that he did before the last federal election where he set up CareWatch as a political party, but in a more important sort of practical sense, CareWatch Group Australia is formally going to be launched in a few weeks' time. It's backed by some salt-of-the-earth investors. It's got no government funding, which is good because it means that it's totally independent. And it's going to be a sort of advocacy/watchdog for the disability and aged care sector. They're setting up a CareWatch app, which is going to provide you with current information about the quality of care at aged care facilities and by disability providers. And when you think about, some of the cases that have come to light over the last few years just here in South Australia, let alone the rest of the country, it's going to be hugely important work that they're doing. They've got an office that's going to be launched in Salisbury. The first office is going to be out north. And they're also going to have a gold accreditation program for providers that's going to be up and running early next year, where you'll be able to know that this facility is rated 5 stars by CareWatch. So we'll get Stu on at some point over the coming few weeks to talk about this, but it was a good scoop by Matt last night, and one that is going to make the quality of care people do receive when they're elderly or living with disabilities much better than it currently is.
Got some headlines for you from around the world, starting with a shooting in the United States, as covered on Nine's Today Show this morning.
We have breaking news for you. At least 5 people have been shot at a school in Oakland, which is in California. The campus has students ranging in age from kindergarten age to year 12. As you can see, authorities on the scene there right now trying to work it all out. It's unfolding, and we'll bring you updates on that story to our newsroom soon. Another school
Yet
shooting.
another one. It's horrific.
It is awful.
Yeah, what do you say? Thoughts and prayers, as the NRA would say.
It'll become a hashtag, and
don't blame the guns, etc.
Making things into a hashtag, it puts them on the fast track to being forgotten.
Yeah, totally.
You know,
Totally.
it's sort of the intermediate point where we go, it's a bit awkward. How do we get from now to when we forgot about this?
Yeah.
Oh, a hashtag will take
I
care
don't
of
watch it anymore. After Valde, like watching Fox and listen to those half-wits crapping on about, it's the door design and it's the first responders and it's this and it's that. It's never the fact that, people have got the access to, weapons that you use to shoot elephants walking around in kindergartens, for God's sake.
In the UK, there was, I was going to say a near miss, but it wasn't. It was a close scrape between two planes.
An emergency on the tarmac at Heathrow Airport. Two commercial planes made contact while taxiing. Luckily, no one was on the Korean Air Jet and Iceland Air 767 that were hurt.
That was Mel at 8 o'clock. Just been doing some reading of it since. The collision was wing to wing, it looks like, and we know this because you're still on the tarmac. So everyone on board both planes has been able to tweet about it, saying, I think we just scratched the plane next to us. I don't know what it costs when you get a... does the other pilot get out and sort of just try and buff it out and say, no,
they go, hey,
oi,
hey, what are you doing? It's like in a supermarket car park.
Mate, that'll just buff out.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see you.
We don't need to get the insurers
come
involved.
On, no, we got it.
Just give it a rub. That was there before that scratch.
Yeah.
I didn't hit you, mate. I'm pretty sure that's how it works in the airline industry. This is a really disturbing story that's we're just coming to light here in South Australia as well, in the states north. A child has been flown to hospital overnight after a car he was in was set alight. Just after 3:30 on Wednesday, police and emergency services were called to Galpin Street at Whyalla Stewart to find a Holden Commodore sedan in flames. A 4-year-old boy seated inside the car has suffered serious burns to his face and body and was flown to the Women's and Children's Hospital. Current condition is unknown. That sounds like a story that you will hear a lot of over the course of the day.
Just want to quickly mention the story on page 4 of the Advertiser under the very generous headline, Fuel Thief Mum, quote, doing her best. A Freeling mother who pleaded guilty to theft and driving charges is working to get her children back. A court has heard in the Elizabeth Magistrates Court on Tuesday. Emma Jade Short, 34, faced charges of making off without payment, driving unlicensed, driving a car with the incorrect number plate. So she stole $100 worth of petrol because she had to take her kids to school. Now, you could argue generously, well, okay, that's terribly sad. And if she can't afford petrol but she needs to get her kids around, then that's, perhaps a motivator. But the thing that I find remarkable, though, so she's driving unlicensed, the car's not registered, she's got the incorrect number plates knowingly attached to the car. So she goes to court. The magistrate says she's doing her best at the moment. She doesn't get fined. How does that work? How do you not get fined? Because I got fined $1,700 a month ago for driving an unregistered car. I hadn't stolen anything.
You were trying your best, weren't you?
I was trying my best.
And your best seems to be not bad.
I'm doing my best. We're all doing our best here. Like, if you're driving at 67 through a 60 zone, but you pay your taxes and your car's registered, you still get the fine. So those of us, because some of us are doing our best better than other people, I would say, like poor old Emma Jade Short. I paid for my own petrol. I registered the car as a matter of course. The direct debit thing I'd set up didn't work. I think the law-abiding people are doing it wrong. You need to just get in front of a magistrate, give them a sob story about how you'd stuffed up your direct debit, and then you get out of the fine.
I reckon.
I mean,
most normal
almost
people
been nominated for Mother of the Year by this magistrate.
Most normal people suffer in our judicial system by virtue of the fact that they think, well, this would never fly. If I went to the court and said, I've had a stressful day and something's going on with the kids and I've been sick, you go, that's a bit embarrassing. There's no way they'd go. I'm not sure the evidence suggests it wouldn't fly.
No.
Just people don't bother because they think it won't. Peter's called in. Morning, Peter.
Oh, Peter. You sound like you're in a tunnel.
Just came through Port Wakefield. Petrol $1.51, $1.53, and $1.57.
Oh, that's good. I hope you got a few jerry cans on board, Peter. You should be filling up.
I'm now at Wallaroo and it's $1.61 in.
That's extraordinary,
That's
Peter.
good.
Thank you.
Lovely set of numbers.
That is a very nice set of numbers. Fuel Watch is going to be particularly interesting this morning with the excise back on last night. We're going to be talking fuel after 8:30 this morning. Let's check traffic for now, and we'll come back and get an update on the Echunga Dam situation in just a moment. Before you head off on your road trip to do the fun stuff, let RAA do the car stuff.
Thanks, Will. At Waterloo Corner, we've still got residual delays from an earlier crash involving a truck. It's on the northern connector near the Port Wakefield ramp, speed reduced outbound. At Marston, restrictions after some urgent waterworks there, Marion Road near Watson Avenue, while at Echunga, various roads are still closed around the town. That's for the emergency dam works. Busy right now, Cross Road at Fullerton Road, also South Road at Mile End, pretty sluggish, and we've got a camera up Main Road at Wollonga. Out and about, fill up with Shell V-Power 98, the premium fuel designed to deliver unbeatable protection for your engine. Feel the feeling, details online. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
The next generation of mighty South Aussies have spoken.
Equal rights for everyone.
Oceans without junk in them.
No nasty chemicals in things.
Search Sustainable 7 to hear more about what the future's got in store for Foodland.
40 years ago, but no, it's actually a great honour.
Rowie and Timmy G.
I walked past it actually on the way to the September Club. It's a nice thing to think, and that statue's of me.
4 p.m. weekdays on 5AA.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide Tech Guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
If you're looking to upgrade your laptop, choose the best new laptop of 2022, HP's Envy X360. For starters, it's a 2-for-1 device, which means it's a laptop with a flip screen to make it more like a tablet. It comes with 16 gig of RAM and a 512 gig solid-state drive. Basically, it's fast and reliable with great speeds for Zoom calls, web browsing and all the best online office software. The Envy is thin and light too. It has a micro-edge display giving you more screen space. Make your family jealous with the beautifully designed HP Envy, available now at Harvey Norman for only $1,999. Plus, you'll score a bonus $200 Harvey Norman gift card.
Check out this great offer at 5AA.com.au. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
Introducing Nissan Future Value Business Plus, a new fleet finance solution for small to medium businesses offering competitive weekly repayments including the cost of scheduled servicing for the loan term. Available now on the Nissan Navara SL 4x4 Dual Cab Auto with more models to come. Plan confidently for the road ahead with Nissan Future Value Business Plus. Visit nissan.com.au/business plus or contact your local Nissan dealer. Approved ABN registered small to medium fleet applicants of Nissan Financial Services. T's and C's and exclusions apply.
Hi, Craig Lowndes here. As a professional driver, safety is my highest priority. That's why I'm a proud ambassador for the Australian Road Safety Foundation. September marks Rural Road Safety Month. Now, it's a national initiative to highlight the horrific stat that 2 out of 3 fatalities occur on our roads happen either in rural or regional areas. We're calling on you to choose road safety every time you're behind the wheel. I choose road safety for every single road user. Who do you choose it for?
Why so blue, little blueberry?
I don't know.
But you're full of vitamins and naturally sweet.
What else?
Well, you're now only $2.99 per 125 gram pack at Aldi.
What's Aldi?
Aldi's good. Different.
It's Tyre Power's Big Footy Final Sale. To kick things off, you can get the power to buy 3 and get 1 free on selected Toyo passenger car and SUV tyres. Tyre Power's Big Footy Final Sale can't last. Visit tyrepower.com.au now.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
Twenty-three to 8. Good morning to those watching along on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live streams. We had intended to speak to the SES right now. We've just been chatting with them off air. They're in fact going to do a broad briefing to all media and the public right now on an updated situation. Now, can't from that infer whether that means there's good news or there's been a deterioration in the situation. All we can say for certain is that over the course of the 3 hours of the program this morning, or 2 hours and 24 minutes of the program this morning, we've had nothing but good news on Achunga. It sounds like it's been heading in the right direction. But as soon as we get some updated information from that briefing, you'll hear it here on 5AA, and you'll doubtless hear it with 5AA News with Mel Usher very shortly. We have, between now and 9 o'clock, a fire truck red, racing car red. What's the best way to describe the style of red we've got there?
Fire engine.
Fire engine
red.
Red. Toaster to give away, thanks to the great people at Smeg. You know it looks smart. You know it toasts just extraordinarily well. We're asking you to toast people. 8223 000. There's no more qualifier on it than that. Just toast someone. Tyson in Clarence Gardens, good morning.
Morning, boys. I'd like to toast the people at Food Bank. They do a great job organising probably some toast for the kids in the morning before school, those that are underprivileged. So, yeah.
Lovely, Tyson.
Food Bank, fantastic.
Lovely
organisation.
Mary in Flagstaff, who are you toasting?
I'd like to toast my husband, Rob. He's just been awarded a Legion of Honour for his 40 years service to Kiwanis Service Club.
Oh, sensational, Mary.
Yeah,
send Rob my regards.
He does such a lot of hard work for them.
Were you with him when he started with Kiwanis, Mary?
No, I've only been with him for 38 years. So
Okay.
he took one in
Only. You're just new on the scene.
Yes.
Glad to hear you're getting along so well.
That's terrific.
So good.
That's lovely, Mary.
So far, so good.
That's a beautiful
Good on
nomination. Mark in Summertown, good morning.
How you doing? Shout out to my wife on her birthday, which I might have forgotten. So this is really just a vain attempt to stop her changing the locks, really.
Now, hang on. Let's be clear about this, Mark. Is the birthday today, or are you apologising for a previous missed birthday?
No, it's today.
Okay.
Excellent.
29th of September.
You'll never forget it a second
Hey,
time.
Mark, tattoos are permanent. Just a thought.
Oh.
Thank you, Mark. Andrew in Craigmore, good morning.
Oh, that poor bugger.
That's right.
I'd just like to give a big praise to Cornsy's son for that magnificent run.
Yep.
And all the money that he raised for the people along the way. It was fantastic. Yeah. And what a family, guys. What a family.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a remarkable feat running from Adelaide to Melbourne.
It's a marathon and a half every day.
Yes.
It's amazing. He's a fit bloke, Kane.
He's beyond
He's
fit.
ripped.
You wonder if it wasn't a professional football career he pursued, and from a young age, if he did distance running, whether he wouldn't have been and competed internationally in something like that.
It was quite funny when I was doing that book with him, because we'd sit in this studio and we'd do the interview chapter by chapter. So we'd do it sort of like, between 10 and noon.
Mm.
And then we'd have our little chat after the interviews, and he'd say, I'd say, what are you up to for the rest of the day, Kane? He'd say, probably going to, go for a run, like, down to Moana and back. I'm like, yeah, I'm probably going to go down to Port. I'm going to 3-piece Bondi burger feed, something like that. Yeah, sort of very different way. But you reap what you sow, and he's got the six-pack as a result of that.
Exactly right. Libby in Vale Park, good morning.
Good morning, how are you?
Good, thanks, Libby.
I'd like to toast my dad that's just turned 100 on Saturday.
Oh, wow.
Happy birthday to him.
Hey, that's great.
Yeah.
Libby.
So does that mean...
Libby, he might be one of the first South Australians to get a letter from the King.
Well, no, he actually got one from the Queen.
Oh, really? Well, hang on.
Well, they must have ordered it before she passed.
So how does that...
Either that or
he
you're
might
under
be
quite
the
a
last
story
one
there.
to get the Queen. Yeah.
Maybe one of the Queen's final duties was signing that letter to your father, Libby.
Might have been, yeah.
What's
which
his
is
name,
exciting.
Libby?
Ray.
Ray. Happy birthday,
Yeah.
Ray. Wow.
Yeah.
What a great effort. Libby, lovely to hear from you, and lovely to hear about Ray. Happy birthday. 100 years.
How weird, though, that you got the letter from the Queen still.
That might be the last one.
The process is you have to alert your local member of parliament to the fact that you're about to turn 100, and then that gets passed on to Buckingham Palace, and that's how the letter arrives.
What a quirk of history. 27 after 8, 5AA News is coming up. We've got Behind Closed Doors, and we're going to talk the return of the full fuel excise next, try to get a sense of how high prices will go and when they'll get there.
Crust pizza is pizza perfection. Every Australian has their favourite. Like Jade, who plays Thursday night footy with the boys and loves a pepperoni pizza after the siren. Or Monica, who's conquering esports online while biting into a crust supreme. Or Dylan, dedicated surfer, and champion of the environment. He's living on the veg with Crust's new plant-based protein range. Crust Pizza. It's pizza crafted for pizza lovers. Order online at crustpizza.com.au.
Here at 5AA, we're all about supporting local. Third-generation chef Chris Jarma has made it so convenient for breakfast work functions and breakfast meetings. He's just opened another room upstairs with a balcony. Only one place to book, and that's Jarma's Kitchen.
Make this Melbourne Cup a day out to remember at Crusoe's Restaurant at the Lakes Resort Hotel in West Lakes.
You'll enjoy a 3-course set menu for just $90, which is great value when you consider the new chef, Chris Dutt, came from Madame Hanoi. He's cooked for the King of Jordan, and you know the food is going to blow you away.
It's such a good pub, the Lakes. There's all the usual fun with sweeps and live coverage, and after the big day, why not stay the night upstairs? Mate of mine had his 50th there, and him and his wife stayed afterwards to avoid a trip home and instead have a wonderful night in a great hotel. They've got great accommodation available with views over the lake.
So book now for the Melbourne Cup lunch, Crusoe's Restaurant at the Lakes Resort Hotel, West Lakes.
I'm Professor Jody Dodd, a clinical director at the Women's and Children's Hospital. South Australia's population is growing, and we need our hospitals to grow with us. The state government is building a brand new Women's and Children's Hospital. It will be even bigger than first planned, and located near the Royal Adelaide Hospital, on a site that leaves both hospitals with room for future expansion when we need it. With the new Women's and Children's Hospital, we're thinking for the long term. We have big plans for better care for generations to come. To see our plans for the future, visit newwca.sa.gov.au.
Authorised by the Government of South Australia, Adelaide.
Think this is just a hose with holes in it? No way, Jose. This is Pope Drip Ease. Deceptively clever irrigation made right here in Australia. Drip Ease drips drops onto plants precisely with a low, slow flow. So there's less runoff and less water wasted. Whether watering your flower beds or veggie garden, Pope Drip Ease will make it a breeze.
A better way to water is a Pope. 5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 18 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Hydrotherapy at Physio Extra Marion has individual sessions and classes claimable on private health and NDIS.
Service SA centres at Marion, Prospect and Elizabeth will stay open till 7 tonight so more Optus customers can get new driver's licences. The state government is picking up the bill in the wake of the hack, but Transport Minister Tom Koutson-Tonis says they'll be chasing Optus for reimbursement.
Oh my word, we are, yes, absolutely. They're the ones that have had people's data easily taken. So if you need to change your driver's licence, they should be paying. If you need to change your passport, they should be paying.
It's been another long night at Ichunga, but there's been progress regarding that dam threatening the township, the water level dropping due to controlled pumping. Penny Kavler from the SES says they're still not allowing people to go home just yet, and the emergency warning remains in place.
Highly trained personnel from emergency services, including SES Swift Water Rescue technicians, remain on site until the risk of major flooding is reduced.
There's been a police chase in the southern suburbs. Senior Constable Peter Williams says it started just before 1 this morning.
Police spotted a silver Toyota sedan travelling at speed on Smith Avenue at Noarlunga Centre. They attempted to stop the vehicle, but the driver refused and sped off from patrol. The car was followed through numerous roads in Huntfield Heights before turning into Yeltana Avenue and coming to a stop in a dead end.
The 36-year-old male driver was arrested without incident. He's been charged and bailed ahead of a court appearance. The fuel excise returned to 44 cents a litre nationwide at midnight. There may be a lag time of up to 5 days before the price we pay is impacted. Service stations still have cheaper fuel in stock. A new independent advocacy group aims to tackle issues facing the aged care and disability sectors. Carewatch Australia has been established by Stuart Johnston, whose mother experienced abuse at the Oakden nursing home. He wants to help others in similar situations.
There's going to be a clear avenue now through Carewatch that if something is wrong, and there is a significant amount out there that is, we will walk with them in order to get the proper authorities.
Hurricane Ian is smashing Florida, packing winds of up to 250 k's an hour. It made landfall overnight and is moving toward Orlando. US President Joe Biden says the government is ready to support the recovery.
Storm warnings are real, the evacuation notices are real, the danger is real, and when the storm passes, the federal government's going to be there to help you recover.
We're being encouraged to get our heart health checked this World Heart Day. Heart specialist Dr. Shane Naniakara is highlighting a condition known as aortic stenosis.
Aortic stenosis is one of those conditions where one of the valves in the heart will narrow down, and usually people feel short of breath. They might feel tired, they might get chest pain or be lightheaded. And it's an easy thing to pick up once you have an ultrasound of your heart, but sometimes those symptoms can go on for a long time. People put it down to just getting older.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
New Mitsubishi Triton with 10-year warranty, 10-year capped price servicing at Agostino Mitsubishi, Nailsworth and Elizabeth.
It's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Port Adelaide is living up to the hype of being aggressive for this year's trade period. After targeting Richmond's Jack Graham with a meeting yesterday, he met with the coach Ken Hinkley, the club keen to add to its midfield depth. Meantime, Wanaway Star has claimed the Western Bulldogs Fairest Award. Jordan Tunbridge reports.
Josh Dunkley's tenure with the Western Bulldogs has ended on a high. The 25-year-old midfielder won the club's Best and Fairest award last night. He accepted the Charles Sutton Medal after requesting a trade to the Lions.
I hope you all feel like I gave my absolute all for this football club. This club will forever hold a place in my heart, and I'm so grateful to have been given the opportunity to put on the red, white and blue jumper.
Coach Luke Beveridge says winning the award raises Dunkley's trade value. Beveridge expecting list boss Sam Power to demand a high price for his star player.
The obvious thing is that the Lions are going to have to pony up. So, Sammy's going to go to work on that.
Tom Liberatore finished second in the vote count, while Aaron Norton was third.
South Australia's been smashed by Tasmania in their Marsh One Day Cup in Brisbane overnight. The Redbacks were dismissed for only 220, and it was never going to be enough, with the Tigers chasing down the target in only the 33rd over. And Nico Hines has won the Dalian Medal for the NRL's Player of the Year. The Cronulla Sharks halfback polled the highest ever total of 38 points. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
At Marston, we've got restrictions after some urgent waterworks. That's on Marion Road near Watson Avenue, speeds at 40. At Echunga, various roads are closed around Echunga for emergency dam works. And we've got upgrade works continuing on the East Parklands, including Toketterville Terrace, East Terrace and Bartels Road. Busy at the moment, Crossroad at Fullerton Road, with cameras Brookman Road, Dinglabadinga and the Esplanade at Moana. Get 50% off Silly Posturepedic mattresses now at 40 weeks, plus earn double Qantas points. Ends Sunday. Terms, conditions and exclusions apply. 40 weeks, serious about sleep. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA weather.
For Zip Track, folding our mornings, automatic sun blinds and outdoor blinds. Choose Peter Jackson Blinds and Awnings.
Partly cloudy, 18 today, the same tomorrow, 19, then up to 21 and mostly sunny on Saturday, 22 on Sunday. Right now it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
24 tonight, Behind Closed Doors is coming up. We're going to talk the return of the fuel excise. 6 months has passed since the excise was halved from 44.1 cents a litre down to about, 44.2 to 22.1. The math would have been difficult, halving 44.1, I can tell you.
22.05.
Okay, smart guy. It came back on as of 11:59 last night. We're not seeing anything dramatic. It's been a slow crawl in an upward direction for petrol for about the last week or so. The Federal Treasurer has said it might take 6 to 7 days for the full force of this to come on. We're tracking it over the course of the morning, and we'll talk more in depth about how that's going to play out over the next few days in just a few moments' time. Before 9 o'clock too, we've got the Smeg Toaster to give away. Asking you to toast people on 8223 0000, like Debbie in South Plimpton is about to. Morning, Debbie.
Good morning, everyone.
Who would you like to? Sorry, Debbie.
I would like to toast Ginger Ninja Cat Rescue down at Port Adelaide because kitten season is about to be upon us, lads, and you would not believe what it's like out there. It's awful. Not only is it heart-wrenching, really heart-wrenching, but a lot of these people work full-time jobs and then come home to baby cats that they have to hand feed every couple of hours through the night. So, big toast to them.
Ginger Ninja.
Good name.
Cat Rescue, yep. Yeah, I know. Ginger Ninja Cat Rescue. They're really cool. And we're actually full. They're full at the moment. All the foster carers are full, and kitten season hasn't even started. So
I didn't know there was a kitten season.
Oh, yeah. When it starts to warm up, all the strays, so that's sort of the breeding time. When it's colder, a lot of the kittens don't survive, so it's not so much of an issue. But as the weather warms up and all the stray colonies of cats and people that let their cats roam and don't dissex them are going to start breeding any minute. So if anyone wants to adopt cats,
if anyone does want to adopt a cat, leave your mobile, Debbie, and we can put them in touch with you.
Hey Debbie, was the original Ninja a ginger, Debbie? Is that where the name came from?
yeah, they love the gingers. They have a heart. If any ginger is in need anywhere, even sometimes interstate, they'll get them because they love the gingers.
Ginger
They're beautiful.
cat. Okay, I'm with you. Thank you, Debbie. Good stuff. Let's go to Paralowie. John, good morning. John.
Hello.
Good morning.
Yeah, I just want to give a toast to the Navita Centre in Highmarsh for the fantastic work they do for blind and servicing the disability people.
Yeah, they do a great job.
They
Navita.
really do, John. Thank you. It's 21 to 9. You might want to shout out the people that got the power back on in the entire state 6 years ago yesterday.
Storms have caused chaos with power out across the state.
The whole state is without supply. There are traffic lights down everywhere. We have had basically all sorts of things happening today. We've had hailstorms up in Cleve, flooding in Whyalla, trees down all over the place.
We're listening to you in candlelight.
Are you?
Emergency services and hospitals are currently operating under their own generation, and people should be aware that this is an extended outage.
It was an extraordinary event, wasn't it? 6 years have passed since the statewide blackout.
It was a major political event as well. The day after, we had the quite memorable fireside chat here on 5AA with the then Energy Minister, Tom Koutsantonis. But changed state policy as well, gave the state the power to intervene in the energy market. But yeah, it was pretty dramatic. And hearing the then Premier Jay Weatherill at the time, and it led to the conversations with Elon Musk around the big battery and all of that.
That's right.
It was a huge moment.
Yeah, it certainly changed the way we talk about power in this state. You could also toast possibly Tim Lester's cameraman for the lengths he went to help out people during Hurricane Ian that's lashing the Florida coast at the moment. The Tampa Bay area is particularly given to flooding too, so this is a nightmarish situation. And Tim Lester, for all we know, is still stuck on a mound of earth that has a service station and very little else on it. It just happens to be a raised bit of ground that a host of local Floridians have been trying to get to, going through water to get to this bit of dry land. He was doing a cross from the dry spot, and his camo spotted a bunch of people trying to carry things and struggling through the waters. So, cameraman to the rescue. He put the camera down, and he decided that Tim could carry on with the cross without him.
The intensity of the wind has been frightening at times. If anything, in the hour and a half or so since the eye of the storm came ashore, it's dropped off a bit, but the water is still rising. And this is the threat that you only begin to understand, I think, when you actually see it at play, the storm surge threat that American hurricane specialists have been warning the people here about for days now. They've said that the storm surge, that is the wave of water pushed ashore by 250 kilometre-an-hour winds, could have been in some cases and will be elsewhere in others about 2 stories high, 5.5 metres, up to about that height.
Yeah, so he was doing that cross with us from that patch of dry land with no sense of when he and the 30-odd people that had taken refuge there were going to be able to get out. Broadly across the region, it's meant an impact to the operation of just about everything. Obviously, there are people without homes close to the water, but then the operation of all the major theme parks, they've been off. NASA seemingly are having no luck whatsoever in launching this unmanned craft to the moon that's part of returning mankind to the moon. They had fueling issues. Now this window's stuffed because of the hurricane that's currently blowing through as well. But on a human level, there's clearly going to be a big developing story over the course of the morning. We're going to check traffic, and when we come back, we're going to talk about filling up at the petrol pump. If you've done it this morning, call us and tell us. Were you bracing yourself? Did it turn out better than you were hoping for? How much did you pay? We'll collate some information and then we'll award our nearest to the pin winner from the guest yesterday, trying to work out what the cheapest fuel in Adelaide would be at 8.55 this morning. 8223 0000, the number. You can text us on the Automasters text line. Time for traffic before you head off on the fun stuff with regard to the road trip. Let RAA take care of the car stuff.
Thanks, Will. At Marston, restrictions after some urgent waterworks. Marion Road near Watson Avenue speeds at 40. Upgrade works are continuing in the East Parklands. You find them affecting Toketterville Terrace, Hutt Street and Bartels Road. While at Achunga, various roads are closed around the town for those emergency dam works. Starting to build South Road at Mile End, and we've got a camera today, Fitzroy Terrace at North Adelaide. Head into your local IGA this week for half-price Sanitarium Up and Go 6-pack, just $5.25. Offer valid till October 4 at participating stores only. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Hey, you in the car. If your next service is due, just remember that Mawson Lakes Mazda has your back. We'll take care of you with next-day servicing, complimentary loan car, vacuum and wash, and your breakfast or lunch is on us. Your car gets the love too, with our state-of-the-art service centre brimming with top-trained mechanics. At Mawson Lakes Mazda, we'll look after your car and look after you. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
First day of my new business, insured by QBE. Cue the lights. Cue the first customers.
Hello.
Cue the morning rush. Cue the unavoidable. Cue the call to QBE.
Hi, sorry.
Cue the quick response.
We'll get that sorted for you.
QBE Insurance on queue for thousands of small businesses before and after. Search QBE SME or talk to your broker today.
See qbe.com/au for eligibility, the PDS and the TMD to decide if this product is right for you. The product issuer is QBE Insurance Australia Limited.
With over 450 RAA-approved repairers across SA, there's bound to be one near you, whether it's in Moonta, Mount Barker or Murray Bridge.
Now, they do it all, from servicing and mechanical problems to crash repairs, and then specialty jobs like air conditioner maintenance. You can trust an independent RAA-approved repairer to do the job right every time, and that's because they're audited to RAA's high standards, giving you peace of mind that your car's in good hands, and you'll never be far from fixed with an independent RAA-approved repairer.
Plus, members can also trust RAA's car advice service with just about anything car-related, like setting yourself up for a safe and easy tow, or checking if you have the right level of road service for your needs. So before you head out on your next road trip to do the fun stuff, let RAA do the car stuff. Search RAA Motor for more. RAA-approved repairers are independent service providers, not agents of RAA. Terms and conditions apply. Available from RAA.
You've selected the block for your new permanent or holiday home. Now it's time to visit the Selector Homes and Building Solutions Display Village. Walk through the Esperance, stylish and modern, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms and large open plan living. The Hallett, spacious 2-bedroom design. And the Inman 4. Plenty of living space for the family with 4 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms, dual living areas and carport. Take a look. Selector Homes and Building Solutions, Port Wakefield Road, Burton. Visit selectorhomes.com.au.
Get a read on local dining. Get a read on when the sun will be shining. Get a read on today with The Advertiser. And enjoy full digital access for only $1 a week for the first 12 weeks. Minimum cost $4. Search The Advertiser offer today. Conditions apply.
9 News has the experience to break the news. Made in Adelaide for Adelaide. 9 News.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
13 to 9. I'm not sure what's happening in Truro, but Caroline just filled up for $1.47.9.
Jeez.
Maybe they've...
Head north, young man.
Maybe they've taken 22 cents a litre off, having been confused about what was going on with the excise.
That's amazing.
That is
Truro.
Well, shout out. Good on you, the petrol station in Truro, $1.47.9. The excise came back on in full. It was halved 6 months ago, but it's now the full 44.2 cents a litre as of 11:59 last night. Mark McKenzie is from the Australasian Convenience and Petroleum Marketers. Mark, good morning.
G'day, gents.
So, Mark, how do you see it playing out over the coming days now that the excise is back on?
Okay, so the excise affects the wholesale price. So every tanker that leaves the terminal or the refinery after 12:01 a.m. Last night will actually be carrying the higher excise fuel. So what will actually happen, typically a service station has about what we call 5 days cover. So that's if I have a problem and for whatever reason the supply stops, I've got enough to keep me going for 5 days before I run out of fuel. But effectively, service stations replace at different rates. So some will get daily deliveries, some will get a delivery twice a week, some will get, particularly in regional areas, they may not get a delivery for 10 days. So effectively what we'll see, as the higher excise fuel is delivered to site, service stations will then make decisions to change their prices. They may not pass all of it on because, as we know, you've got a very powerful petrol price cycle that operates in Adelaide, and as a result, you always see that continued discounting behaviour that will occur over the top of the changes in the wholesale price. But I think for most motorists, what I'd be saying is we would expect to see the majority of retailers passing through that higher excise, the increase in tax from the government, within the next 5 to 7 days.
Yeah, I just read out a text from one of our listeners, Carolyn, who said that in a reasonably remote and very small country town, not that remote, but about 2.5 hours from Adelaide, Truro, it's currently $1.47. So that might just be because they don't have a very high turnover of fuel there, and it might have been bought way back in the cycle when it was even cheaper.
Yeah, that's spot on. What we know from the cut, so we've actually already seen how our industry adjusts to the excise cut or the excise change when we saw it cut at the end of March. So what we learned through that process, the ACCC monitored it very closely. 90% of service stations had passed on the cut in full after the first 2 weeks, but there were 10% that took another 4 weeks to pass it through, largely because they still had the higher price stock. And they would be places like that are far-flung that might not get a delivery for a couple of weeks. So you're going to see the reverse as the excise is reinstalled. 90% are expected to have put their prices up within the next fortnight. But there'll be a 10% or so that, because they won't be getting deliveries of higher excise fuel for some time, they'll actually keep their prices as low as they can.
Yeah. So I'm looking at the oil barrel prices at the moment, Mark. So we've got West Texas crude just over $80 a barrel. Brent crude's just under 90 at the moment. We saw it get up to nearly to $120 a barrel back in June. Given all that, and given where the excise coming back on, what would you say is about what the average real price of petrol around Australia should be right now? I know that's hard because we've got different retail scenarios in each state, but do you think it's over $2 a litre for unleaded?
I think it's actually close to $2. So what we can do, we can get a bit of an indication from what we're seeing in the regional areas that don't get exposed to the petrol price cycle, or the smaller capitals like Sydney, Hobart and Darwin. In those areas, we're seeing prices, average prices around the $1.75, $1.77 mark. So if you work on adding the excise, which is 23 cents plus 2 cents GST, you're talking about a price that is in the low $2. It's worth comparing, though, that when we looked at the prices in June at the period you were talking about, we were seeing average prices, even with the excise cut, that were sitting in the low two teens or early 220s. So we are seeing that lower price come through. There is a countervailing force, though, that we've actually seen a bit of a drop in the exchange rate. Oil sold in US dollars, but we buy it in Aussie dollars. And probably the simplest example, if we go back to 2014 when we saw $100 US a barrel, the exchange rate was 90 cents, so that was 111 Australian dollars for that US $100 a barrel. Today, at 65 cents Australian to the US dollar, that's $158 Australian.
That's a good point.
Yeah, so that movement in exchange rates is what people often miss. They look at the US prices, but we've got to look at what happens with the exchange rate as well.
Great analysis, Mark. Very easy to understand. Mark McKenzie from the Australasian Convenience and Petroleum Marketers Association. Good on you for coming on. Thanks for that.
Thank you.
8 to 9, we've got some more texts coming in. Steve says there's a United Henley Beach has jumped to $2.17 for diesel already.
That's crazy.
I mean, would the argument be they just happened to run out?
Possibly.
The latest ones come in? Not so sure.
Hey, thanks to Kay on the Foodland Supermarkets live stream, who has texted in saying, big shout out to Neville, my husband, for his birthday today. Happy birthday, Nev. Have a good one.
Okay, now let's do Fuel Watch in the context of everything you've just heard then, thanks to the excellent people at RAA with their great app, which is important now more than ever. You can find the cheapest fuel in an instant. Download the free My RAA app from your app store today. Most outlets for petrol between $1.89 and $1.99. The cheapest diesel in Adelaide is the Ampol Bridge Road, Para Hills, $1.87.9. But the cheapest price in Adelaide, we know out in sort of regional areas, you can get it a bit cheaper. The cheapest price in Adelaide we've been able to find for petrol, and the nearest to the pin, excluding Costco, which was the qualification we put it on yesterday, the BP St Bernard's Road Hectorville, $1.85.9. So, nearest to the pin guesses from this time yesterday, where we've got the Dolly Parton 9 to 5 tickets to give away, 9to5themusical.com.au. Reno and Torrensville said $2.25.9. That's not going to happen. You said $1.97. Not bad.
Not eligible either.
No. I said $1.73-ish, being my usual very decisive self. Jeff in Felixstowe said $2.09.9. Robin says $1.87.9. Simon in Lewiston says $1.87.0. Liz had $2.30. Linda in Campbelltown had $1.92.5. And Paul in Fulham had $1.69.9. So I think the winner of the tickets is Simon in Lewiston.
Yes.
Simon in Lewiston.
Well done, Simon.
You are off to see 9 to 5 the musical. And we are going behind closed doors thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast, 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed...
The 5AA Gardening Show with Mike Keelan and Angie McBride.
13 minutes to 7 o'clock, 8223 0000 on 5AA, Michael Killen's Gardening Show. Hello, Michael.
Right. Hello, Ange. Let's talk to Barry. Good morning, Barry.
Good morning. I'm on Ange.
Yep.
Numerous weeks in a row on a Sunday morning she gives a time call.
Yep.
Should be 13 to 8, it's 13 to 7. You just done it again this morning, Ange.
Right.
Did I?
You need to alter your clock.
Right. Might need to alter your attitude, Barry.
Blakey should do a skit on her and
No,
say,
he-
you need to get your watch wound up.
Blakey wouldn't do that. He knows how it upsets me.
It's becoming consistently, Robert, every Sunday morning.
Right. Well, you're becoming consistently a pain in the bum, Barry.
She's just said
Yeah, we know what she said.
13 to 7, when in actual fact it was 13 to 8.
You've just told us that, Barry. You need a new record because the one you've got stuck.
And it happens nearly, it's happened at least 4 or 5 times in the last...
Oh, good on you, Barry. That's very impressive. So you can count. I'm sure you're past
So
kindergarten.
you get a watch and put on your wrist.
I've got 5 clocks in here as it is. I don't need another one.
Right. Hang up on him, Ange.
I have, Michael.
But look, Angie, in the cosmic scope of things, what does it matter if you give the occasional wrong time call?
Yeah, that's right. I'm only human, Michael.
That's right.
12 minutes to 4 on Michael Keelan's Gardening Show.
Right. 12. Yeah. A lot of good things coming up this morning on the show too, Angie.
Yes, and we'll be here till 5 o'clock to take your...
Right. Yeah. We've got a couple of prizes to give away too.
Yes, and we'll be doing that, Michael, sometime before midnight tomorrow.
No, 10 o'clock this morning.
Yeah, that's what I meant. What did I say?
You said midnight tomorrow.
I'm only human, Michael.
It's great, isn't it, that everybody's getting out in the garden lately. The sun's been shining, beautiful weather, and people are feeling good.
They are, Michael, because let's face it, it's been a pretty tough 2023, hasn't it?
Right.
Michael Keelan's Gardening Show, 8223 0000 is the number 16 to 12.
I'm not laughing loud. I've been found guilty of that on a number of occasions.
Who's going to say the time when you're off having the baby?
Oh,
it's going to be really scary.
You might have to practice. Get a few time calls in.
That's right.
Which clock are you going to go off? The digital here or the analog up on the wall?
Not my watch. I'm just looking at it now. According to my watch, which I have to shake and wind every 3 days.
It's purely cosmetic, your watch, isn't it?
It says it's 13 to 9 at the moment.
No.
When it's in fact 8:57.
Yeah, I mean, you can hang around.
It's 8:57.
You can hang around for another 13 minutes if you like. We have the excellent Smeg toaster to give away. Building or renovating, your first choice should be visiting the Smeg showroom at Debney Distributors. Taste the difference with Smeg. We've been asking you to toast someone for the toaster. Got a lot of great entries as well. Who do we like?
Well, look, they were all terrific, but I think just for not just the awkwardness of the returning tonsils, we learnt that 1 in 10 people who has a tonsillectomy will have to have another one when the tonsils re-emerge. For the fact that she, despite having had throat surgery, managed to get on the blower and share a story with us on the phone. And most importantly, though, the toast to the excellent medical staff at the Gawler Hospital. We're going to give the Smeg toaster to Julie in Blakeview.
Lovely. No complaints there. Thanks to the great people at Debney Distributors. Leon Biner is coming up after 9 o'clock, and he will be joined by the Prime Minister of Australia, Anthony Albanese. So stick around for that. We'll be back tomorrow morning from 6.
Business NBN can help give you the edge because it's made for businesses' evolving needs. You can choose from a